whilst I grab them.
I had some weird idiosyncrasy the way I took things apart.
Hey guys, welcome.
Hey,
welcome. They're all like,
live?
we are live. Oh, HC's moved, hasn't he? Of course he has.
Yeah, sorry, we've podcast already while you were showing the videos off.
Yeah.
I
had
just
the entire podcast.
Of course you did.
We had the entire podcast while you were away.
Yeah, we just had a discussion. It was all great.
Yeah, there's nothing to talk about now. I got nothing to add, honestly.
Life difficult. I set him up.
You want me to move myself?
I set you up and then you move.
Yeah. I got to make things interesting for you. Don't you know?
Don't move. It's like you need like one of those frames where it holds your neck in place.
Right. When we get to the next screen, he'll move as well. Oh man. Yes, we were talking about the knocks in chat briefly. Just like, yes, I have the queue left, and I'm always torn with my queue because I know it's a limited one. I got rid of the other one. I upgraded that to a Saber, and I had the other one, and they had the Saber flash sale. And I was sat there going, I could turn both my Noxes into Sabers. I was very, very tempted to turn them into Sabers. But I didn't. I've kept the queue for now. Sabers. I like the idea of having two. I mean, I'm gonna have more than one Saber. That's just. I mean, it depends. It depends how good the F8 Lightning is, obviously, and a few other ships as we go along become. And if there's new, I mean, what's the Aegis super fighter to combat the F8? You know, that's what I'm kind of curious to see. And what's the alien ships like? So I don't know.
It's going to be the Saber Parrot.
The Saber Parrot.
Saber Parakeet.
The Saber Thunder. The Saber Thunder.
The Saber Canary.
Versus the F8
Saber
Lightning.
Canary.
The Saber
it
Canary.
Lights up when there's danger. Get out.
Oh my god, it's bright yellow.
Yeah, bright yellow. It's like, you use it for mining.
Or racing. It's a multifaceted ship. Mining, racing. The Canary would be the mining version. The racing one.
So who have we got in? So we've got Tuteman, what's up? We've got Nadia Shark, how you doing? We've got Mitmo, we've got Christian CIG. CIG is in here already. Damn, he's following you like stalks HC, so welcome.
I think he's just looking for leaks.
I think so, probably. He's like that.
He's on the
ban!
Leaks.
Ban!
What the fuck can I ban? Who in StarCitizen can I ban? It's in Evocati.
I know, we have these patch notes for Evocati to talk about too tonight. And
okay, do we have anyone in legal? Do we have anyone in legal?
I mean, me and Madness.
Me and Madness, yeah. That's it. The only people that can talk. Miz won't be saying anything about the leaks. I have some videos of the leaks as well, which we will be showing. So if anyone doesn't want to partake in that, obviously, I will give you time to leave the stream. But we will be doing it. It's open. It's out there until CIG starts.
Have we got a spoiler alert?
I haven't got spoiler, but I can add one to the video page. When I go to the video page,
I will add today because there was a BBC series that was on, and on the news that I think last night was like the final episode, and then this morning on the BBC there was like, oh, that series has ended. It's really good. It's done really well, and it's like, we're going to give you a little bit of a spoiler. It's like, don't bother. You don't have to tell people what happened in the end of the fucking show. Just say it was a good show and it's done well. Why do you need to talk about it?
I agree. It's really
content.
Annoying. It's almost like the person who owns a Discord channel talking about Critical Role weeks when other people haven't seen it. I don't know who could possibly do that.
Yeah, considering it was like about 3 months after the invasion.
It's not my fault I'm slow, okay? Jesus.
I mean, jeez. Yeah, but there's leaks and then there's leaks. Like by that case, we'll be on patch 3.5 by the time I'm allowed to talk about it.
You're not allowed to talk about any leaks, even 3. Yeah, when you can't talk about 2.5, no one's allowed to talk about 2.5 leaks.
It's not allowed.
Honestly, I would love the day when we stop talking about 263 madness.
Hey, I was on about 2.5. I was on about 2.5. I didn't say 2.6.
in it, so there is definitely hope. It's got a 0.3. So
yes,
and it's divisible by 3. And,
I honestly, I cannot wait.
You get 6.
I can't wait to see the back of the 3-point branch.
There's
I'm telling you,
3s.
I cannot wait to see the end of the odd numbers and we get back into those good old even numbers.
Even number.
So I want to get
patches.
Just it's clearly unlucky. It's clearly unlucky. The ones was terrible. The 2s were good, and the odd 3s were terrible. So hopefully the The even fours will be good. So if you're new to the stream, you're new to the Asylum podcast, welcome. Great to have you here. If you're like the old bunch of old school people that are here, it's great to have you here as well. I am Little Bit of Madness. I'm a StarCitizen streamer, content creator, footwear designer, and Dungeons and Dragons
Spoilers in the chat.
attempter.
All these spoilers.
I have to stop reading chat if you keep up with this.
And we have Miserable G, who is... Introduce yourself.
Miserable G. That's you just introduced me.
You know, I know I introduced your name, but what do you do? Sorry.
Oh right, not much lately. I stream now and again. I haven't streamed for ages because I've been on holiday. So yeah, but I'll be streaming again soon. We do Dungeons and Dragons, we do StarCitizen, and probably loads of other stuff in between.
If anyone's quiet, by the way, let me know if there's anyone in particular who's quiet. But if everyone's should be about the same level. But if there is anyone, just let me know. I'll adjust them. And HC, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm HC Vertigo. I'm a StarCitizen streamer on Twitch. I do content for StarCitizen. Sometimes I do Battlefield series. We love Battlefield. Sometimes you do go back in time, do the retro games. We just completed up a playthrough of Dark Souls 2. So that was fine.
I've adjusted you, Miz. I've turned you up a bit. We'll see if you're louder next time.
Oh. Do I need to turn the gain up a little bit?
You're good. You're good. You're good.
Okay. Am I good?
You went away for 3 months, so you're good.
Yeah.
My voice was
He was away for 3 months. So Miz's holidays are not like normal people's holidays. Normal people go like a week, maybe 2. Miz like goes away for like 3 months, 3 weeks, 2 years. I'm still gonna.
You know what? That's a vacation. That's a vacation right there. That's just go, and then you come back and you forget all your customs, and you're like, shit. How do I say hi to these people?
But
that's right. We're English. We don't.
He does it. He does it.
I like to say that because that is so true. Like every time, right, you meet an American when we was in South Africa, they always, don't matter what you did, they always spoke to you. It's like, what? I don't know you. Why are you talking to me? Sat down on the plane, some random American started saying, "Oh, so what are you doing on the plane?" Well, I'm fucking flying somewhere the same as you. And then you sit down everywhere, just everywhere. The Americans literally just talk to you for no reason whatsoever.
We're like parakeets. We just love talking.
It's just they want to engage with you. Like I can always tell when someone's foreign to London, and it's not an American, but generally foreign in a happy place. Because they're the ones who are kind of looking around, happy. They maybe talk to you. How are you doing? You know, I always think when I leave London, people suddenly have an interest in the time of day and how you are. You know, oh, good morning. You know, like when you walk past each other, it's like, who? Like in London, you don't do that. You're like, you're in my way. You're irritating me. I'm trying to get through this stall. Get the fuck out of the way. That's pretty much the attitude. You know, like on a holiday, it's the same thing. This is my sun deck chair, not you, German, with your freaking thing. Get out of it. This is mine. Don't you think you can get down here first thing in the morning with your German efficiency and get that towel on there and steal it? Because it's not happening.
I tell you what, those 3 o'clock mornings to put your sun lounger, just no.
It's just not happening. No. You see them. They're like flocks of them descending as soon as breakfast is finished. Before even breakfast is finished, they're there already.
I mean, that is one thing with Brits. Like, at least maybe it's from, like they said, maybe not from the city, but out of the city. I'm a country bumpkin originally, and it's like we do say morning to people. It's weird, and it's the same as when I was doing like the self drive on Safari. Every time you drive past someone, it's like, all right, you know, all right. But you don't talk to anyone. But that's about it. It's as far as you go. It's just say morning.
Yeah, you're not allowed to
hello.
talk. No, you start talking. It's scary. It's you do, isn't it? Like if you said to me morning, and I was like, yeah,
talking to strangers.
Do you know what?
I can't imagine. I made a joke, and now we've literally gone into.
It's like it's the same way. You say like, do you know when you say to someone, "Oh, all right, how are you doing?" Like, you're not expecting an answer of how they're doing. You just want, yeah, it's good, mate. Cheers, and walk on.
Yeah, it's good,
not
mate.
when you get these people that turn around and go, "Oh, wow, me back's aching," and yesterday I dropped this, I smashed my best pottery, and it's like, oh, fuck's sake, I didn't want your life story. It was just
at that point,
I went to the grocery store with a coupon for a shampoo, and the coupon was expired. don't want to fucking hear about your day. I just wanted to seem like I'm a nice person asking about you, but I don't give a flying fuck about you.
Do you know what?
I was being polite, okay? I'm being polite.
Now you're making me not polite by saying shut the fuck up and move on.
If this was, I always look at that situation as if it was, if you know, like you see those movie scenes where they cut to the moment. I think it was in High Fidelity. There's a bit when the boyfriend comes in and he cuts and he imagines he's like smacks his teeth in and like murders him in like 4 different ways, and it cuts back to the actual thing that he really does. I kind of envision that moment when you do that and somebody starts talking to you. Like, if it was like a GTA moment, you just pull a machine gun out or a rocket launcher and just blow them up, and then just continue to walk past them, going, "I really wasn't interested. I was just trying to be nice." That's kind of how I envision that moment. But the thing is sometimes though, you can be on the, just briefly, you can be on the other side of it where you just need that person to talk to. You've had a hard day. It's been a difficult time. You've sat down on the chair and that person opens up to you, and then maybe you just flood of information and emotions, and that poor person has taken the brunt of what you wouldn't give to anybody else, and then you walk away cleansed and feeling fantastic, and you can carry on with your day.
I can't say I've ever done that.
You've obviously never been super drunk at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I have. I'm normally the fucker that listens to everybody else. Like, I was saying this before, it's like when you're younger and you go to all these, like, you know, you're at 16 and whatever, go to these parties and you're getting drunk and everybody's there getting pissed. I'm always the one in the kitchen talking to the fucking father or something like that, having a cigarette, and just like having this world philosophical conversation or listening to how the world's wrong for everybody else. Yeah. And it's like, well, I should be in there getting absolutely hammered, but
but that's, I think that's what all, I think that's probably what all Evocati people must be doing now, just going, oh, these leaks, oh, just like this, just I could imagine it's happening more and more, right? It's like, we were having this discussion off thing, and I think we're going to bring it onto this. Is I looked at the list, almost 98% of it is. Like, we know this stuff. We've seen it on ATVs. They've talked about it under questions. They've answered questions on most of this stuff. There is very little of this. There is very little of this that is like, I don't get it. It's just like, what's the big deal? I really don't get Evocati. I get not streaming it. I get maybe showing no pictures, but talking like about it, I just don't understand. I really don't get I don't get it, guys. Somebody explain to me why it's a bad thing.
What I don't get, and maybe we need to get like some clarification from CIG, because as we were saying before the podcast started, we've discussed, like, say, truck stops. I gotta be careful what I say. Truck stops and other stuff that might be in the patch. Like, we discussed it. We've had podcasts on it all before. We've seen it all in ATV, and I was allowed to talk about it. But does that mean I'm not allowed to talk about it now, all of a sudden, that it's came into Evocati because it's in the patch? Like, it's been out in public knowledge, and like, where does that stand? Because I've talked about it before, but now I can't.
But if that's what I don't understand, is it's like, if you've if you've talked about it before, if it's been on ATVs, if it's all the content we've already seen, surely you should be able to talk about it. If it's something that hasn't been shown, hasn't been discussed, hasn't been talked about, I get it, because that's in theory secret, and then maybe people aren't supposed to know. But I don't get it. I just don't understand it. Yeah, this is why. That's the reason me and HC both, by the way, don't do Evocati. HC is pretty much Evocati without it, so we don't have to talk.
It's not the reason you don't do it.
No, I don't. I don't do it because I don't bug report. This is true. No, I do. I press my grey button that says it's failed. Would you like to report it?
Just press my grey button.
Yeah, the pressing the grey button. Report crash. Thank you for your report. That's my, like, I mean, if CIG wants to see what's wrong with their game, they can just come down and watch me. It's just, like, I'm breaking the game constantly. Today I found out the Terrapin. Found out today the Terrapin has an ejection seat. It's a really bad ejection seat. The seat goes, but you stay, but it has an ejection seat.
Non-disclosure, non-discussion. Yeah, so that's what I don't understand. I mean, I know that these guys, like Miz, doesn't want to lose his position, and I understand that. And I certainly would never want to put him in a position where he would lose that. And if it was ever an issue, obviously, you just raise it with myself and with Miz. If CIG, if you ever have a problem with it, just send us a message or whatever and tell us that give us the slap on the wrist type of thing, and we'll learn from it. But in terms of like showing leaks and kind of, because I know I think Nubifire got like venomous response to his video. He tweeted, and I think he just showed another tweet. Some guy just went, you're promoting the leaks and and all the rest of it. And I'm like, well, is he really? I mean, most of it is talked about, and I mean,
yeah. I mean, so this is kind of what we're talking about a little bit earlier, and this is kind of where it's a bit different, because in the past, when Evocati first started, it was more a case of there was a lot less known, and people didn't necessarily know what they were testing in the patch. Whereas since we've changed and had this like roadmap update, we all know what's coming, and we all know what's coming in every single patch. On top of that, CIG has quite openly come out, especially with this one because of the lack of some of the content, and told us exactly what's coming in 3.3. They've said so many times this is coming in 3.3, so it's not actually a secret what's in this patch at all.
The bugs are probably the only thing secret.
Yeah,
the bugs.
There's no surprises.
I mean, let's go for it. Let's go for it. If you don't mind,
Star Citizen's buggy, you don't say.
I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
I'm going to just go through it. So the new features. Okay, so in general, we have added sliders for general mouse and mouse ADS sensitivity. Okay, until we get an official decision, Ms. can't say anything. But added sliders for general mouse and mouse ADS sensitivity. Okay, fine.
So we're going to have a slider for general looking around, and we're going to have a slider for aim down sights looking around. So that's nice. A lot of the FPS guys have been asking for that for a while.
Okay, that's cool. I think people have said that that's coming, so that's fine. The universe, so we have rest stops. Surprise, surprise. We've seen a gazillion pictures and gazillion videos on RTV about rest stops. I don't know how many pictures I've seen it. Added the repair, the refuel, and the rearm functionality previously associated with Cryastro to all stations, landing pads, Port Olisar, Levski, Grimhex, and rest stops. Note: repair MF functions no longer automatically pops up. Blah blah blah. They added the quantum route planning, which again we just saw that on ATV. The quantum route planning. They just literally showed that to us.
I was going to talk about it tonight, but now I can't.
Well, you can talk about it. I don't understand. No, that's bullshit. You've got to be able to talk about that. That's nonsense.
No, okay.
That can't be right. That can't be right. That cannot be right. That you cannot talk about.
We can talk about anything as long as it's not specific
to Evocati.
So I can't tell you. Yeah, well, and as in, I can't tell you how the Google Maps works at the moment within StarCitizen, but we watched the thing and they've told us how it's going to work. So we can talk about the navigation, but I can't talk about an experience I've had with the navigation, if that makes sense. I think
so.
that's
It's not going to be an automatic pilot where you
select
route and then you engage and then it takes your ship through the entire route without you.
You can't say you can't say anything on that, but we can show the ATV.
So from what we saw on ATV.
Yeah, you can talk about that. Yeah, exactly. That's fine. But so they added quantum route planning, which again we've just seen. I'm just going through this just because I want to kind of like, if there's anything we want to talk about, pause me, we'll talk about it. But generally, I'm just going through just to say we've talked about this. The star map has the route planning functionality that allows it to automatically plot multiple quantum traverse. Again, we saw that on ATV, though functionality of this feature is still waiting UI elements. Again, surprise, surprise. UI is always something that's usually one of the last things to get done. Coolers are now use the power to perform according to power and can be overclocked. Again, that's not surprising. I mean, they've been working through all of the assets and all the components to be able to do things like that and to be all individual. So that's no shocker there. The quantum drive now performs according to its power state. Yay, including faster spooling, calibration, and all that stuff. Again, they told us about this. They said to us on ATV. Turret gyro stabilization can now be toggled via an interactive node. Okay, that's new. I didn't know about that, but I mean, that's such a tiny thing. Power target levels can now be set independently for each item on the ship MFDs. Again, this is just, you could kind of generalize this and say they've just added more functionality to components and things like that. I mean, that's, again, they've been talking about that for ages. They added the Hearthstone Dynamics, Dominance, and Attrition series ship weapons. Again, we knew about that. Available in size 1 to 3, the Dominance series are high-quality scatterguns that fire more pellets as they build up heat. The attrition series available 1 to 6 or later. I mean, we know about most of the weapons here. I don't think there's any weapons here that are new to me. Maybe they're new. I don't think so. Miz can't confirm or deny. Both weapons can be purchased at Grimpex Dumpers Depot, but may lack some functionality. Okay, fine. FPS. So they added motion warping to allow sliding during vaulting. We've seen that. They showed us that with the guy running around the corner, I believe. They've added the Kaztak Arms Karnal Assault Rifle. Again, we've seen that before. The user interface, the shop kiosks. We've seen tons of shop kiosks. The PMA and the VMA all now have functioning item previews. And then they've a huge list of bug fixes, which I'm not going to go through because it's pointless. Then we've got technical, so they fix for client crashes, various performance tweaks, blah, blah, blah. The current ship list is the Gladius Variant, Retaliator, Saber Comet, Hornet FC, Wildfire, the usual things, the Hurricane, the Terrapin, the Mustang Alpha.
You know what's not on that list? The 2 ships that aren't on that list that everybody probably wanted to see.
I'm looking for them.
There's no Hammerhead, and there's no Constellation Phoenix in that list.
So far, because it's only just gone into Evocati. They normally have other things come in later.
And they only have one variant of the Mustang. The Alpha.
The Alpha, which I saw, which is really interesting because the leak that I will show a video of is of the Delta.
Yep. Well, it's a green Mustang.
Well, that's unless someone's obviously changed the filter, which is perfectly possible. Someone could have changed the filter on the. I haven't checked. I didn't look at it closely to check it. You can't say anything. So in terms of the ships, it's like okay. General. So there's nothing there. Like I was like going, okay, the Mustang's the only thing. I'm not interested. Feature updates: polished and smooth one-handed and two-handed place pickup animations. Again, they just showed us that with the ships taking off. I was like, okay. Oh no, that's the is that the two-handed pickup animations? Oh, two-handed, that's like picking up the boxes and stuff. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, I was thinking something else. So we've seen that gazillion times, nothing new there. The universe slightly updated the positions of planetary bodies, changed mining power grids, blah 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 blah, reworked many insufficiencies, blah blah blah. Missions updated the delivery missions to include the new locker system, which we've seen on ATV, and they did a thing about it.
Yep.
Updated the pistol, stock shoulder inspect poses for movements. Players can now enter action mode. Refinements, sped up animations of the lean mechanic, tweaks to level of protection provided by personal armor, which we needed to because I think the armor balancing is atrocious. Recoil and sway pass, gallant rifle, blah blah blah. More UI stuff, ships and vehicles, complete rework of the Mustang series. Moved the aim assist from turrets, which I thought was interesting.
Longer than I remember.
Yeah, the removed the aim assist from turrets.
No. How will I get anything anymore?
Kind of needed aim assist on those turrets. Turrets were
throwing that out there to go, ooh, that means that maybe they think they've fixed turrets or there's a new system coming in for turrets because turrets were bad, then they got slightly better, and then now they removed the aim assist. So that's going to be interesting.
Aim assist and inserted auto aim. It just automatically
just straight up aim.
Auto lock.
Just press the fire button. It locks on.
Just choose your target.
Absolutely delicious.
Yeah, people would absolutely love that.
Imagine a hammerhead like that. That would be the best-selling ship if you had every turret just auto lock on.
Oh God,
push a button, it just erases your saber.
Oh my God, that would be horrendous. Just trying to dodge that. I would enjoy the challenge, but it would be horrible. Default loadouts have been redone. So the Gladius variant, the Retaliator, Saber Comet, blah blah blah. They have all had their default loadouts redone. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean they've changed?
I think they've had new ships.
I think it means the default layout has been redone.
Yeah, they've changed the weapons to new weapons because they have more weapons now than they've had in the past. I mean, every ship came with like the Bearing Laser series or the Badger Repeater. Now they've got the Tarantulas are getting better. The Badgers are better. The Bearings got reworked. Now they have the new Broadsword series ballistic weapons. They got the new Gatling cannons. They got all these new guns.
Loads of guns. But none of them have good balance, so you just switch them out for the meta. Right? That's the thing is they give us all these weapons, and all you do is swap them out for meta weapons.
Why change stuff when nothing's balanced yet anyway? Is there any point?
You can't talk. You're NDA. You can't say anything, Miss. Shh, quiet.
Quiet you.
Just for the ship.
NDA.
Change the gun on the ship.
Well, it's like with the UI changes that came in other games, like the Battlefield series. Like they had workable UI in previous versions of it. Near as I can tell, is the UI people needed to prove their paycheck. You know, we need to prove that we're worth taking a paycheck. So we need to convince the boss that we needed to do this. This was very important work. This was.
Probably is. It's like, well, what have you been doing this fucking month? We changed the layout on ships. Yeah. Whew, that's good.
We dodged a bullet there, boys. Dodged a bullet.
another month's worth of paycheck.
Woo!
It'd take him another month to figure out that we're not doing anything down here.
Do you know what? Do you know how hard it is? Yeah, like just like that going playing pool. You on that? He's on the wildfire. Chris is sorted. Don't worry. We've moved the guns around. It's fine. Now let's line up this black ball. Bing.
What I haven't said is they haven't actually changed any of their guns. They've just swapped the positions. So
they've taken the guns already on the ship and they've just moved them around the ship. They've taken on the Saber, they've taken the Badgers, and they swapped them with the Panthers. So now the Badgers are on the outside, and the Panthers on the inside.
I can see it now. Like there's the webcam now, and the lads behind are going like this furiously at them to say like he's like you got the new kid that's just joined. He's like, oh yeah. And the other guys behind furiously. One of the guys playing pool say, oh my god, he's picked up the call to Chris. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up, don't say it. He's like, oh yeah, I don't know. The lads now are currently playing pool, Chris. I'll just get them. Hang on. Oh god, I've been there though. The thing is I've actually been. We had a pool table up in my old work. It was really a beautiful pool table, but there was a moment where we were all playing pool, and people were on a guided tour, and all the design team was just playing pool, and we were like, maybe we should just kind of casually
it's lunch.
go and do some work.
But
that was quite
in
fun.
the morning.
It wasn't a good moment.
It's lunchtime in Singapore.
Yeah.
Singapore lunch.
My pool game
We're on
improved
LA
tremendously.
at the moment.
So that's it. There's they removed some of the scratches from the cockpit canopy. Surprise, surprise. They added the scratches and then they take them away.
They had to take them back.
That's another person trying to keep their fucking job. I took some of the scratches out.
One guy.
Too many scratches in the glass, so we had to take some off today.
What they didn't tell you is they put it into the freelancer. That one hasn't got enough. Let's stick some more scratches in the freelancer.
Oh god, honestly,
it makes it look better. Just not looking through the glass better, but it just makes the ship look better.
What's probably worse is that person will end up being promoted to be a director, to manage a company somewhere, to do something at some part of the business. That's usually what happens.
You take the most incompetent you take the most incompetent people that fuck up every time. You promote them to management to get them out of the way of the production environment.
I've got a serious question here. Right? How did they decide which scratches to take out?
This is a good point. We must find out. Maybe Christian knows who the scratch guy is.
Did he take them from the corner that you couldn't see, or were they the ones like directly in field of view?
I think he probably buffed them. Did he buff them? Buffed them. Eyeballed it.
No, they called was it Quick Fit or something that come out and did
replace the glass.
I can't remember it.
Oh god, this is a terrible joke.
In the UK,
terrible
they
joke.
come and fix your glass. I can't remember
Terrible.
But no, over here we got speed glass or something.
Do you know what's kind of annoying? Do you know what's funny about that is like everyone gets funny like for me being salty about that, but it was terrible, and it was kind of clear. You know, when I was like looking, saying my Gladius is shit. I remember looking at it going, someone has literally washed my Gladius with diamonds and sand. It would like, I'm not hiring him. It's just like madness. Let's just ruin your view so you can't see anything, and let's throw glare everywhere.
That's how they balance the combat ships against the non-combat ships. They fuck up your vision so you can't see anything.
I can't. It's hard enough trying to hit a target.
What's the excuse for the freelancer then?
What's the excuse for the freelancer? There is no excuse for the freelancer.
It's just because it's a tiny window. So the one guy whose job it is to scratch windows, he's just like, I need to get my job in. So he's making sure, no matter how small the piece of glass, he's going to get in there and scrub it down so you can't see anything.
I think they realized
has the best view though.
Yeah, that's so they can, the guy who does the scratching on the glass can actually really go to town, really show off his skills. There's a lot of glass to scratch up, so he's got a nice canvas to work with.
I just
They
think
learned their mistake with the freelancer and the Starfarer. He just the canvas was too small. He really couldn't show off. But now that they got the Prospector and the Mustang, it's like he can do the Mona Lisa now. Of scratches.
his Mona Lisa will be Hurston, probably one of the glass, or maybe even like Lagsky. He's probably, if you look at probably the sheet glass on that building, he's just like, I can't wait to get onto that bad boy. That's my promotion.
I hear with Lorville coming, they have a tram completely made of glass just so they can show off their new scratch test.
Scratched. Right, moving on from Beasley.
It was built in-house from scratch.
Wow.
So they've
Okay, what else we got, Madness?
Okay, so they've added landing gear compression to the 85X. Wow, someone's job's been saved. That's important. That's important right there. The compression to the 85X. Woo! Good job. That's a high moment. Do you know what's sad is and I don't mean to belittle that poor junior designer developer that's been busy and that's their first gig, because it happens in like the film industry. It's like your first gig will be like rotoscoping someone's butt or something for some butt double or something like that. That's kind of your first job. Is like you just get the shitty jobs that all the other more important people don't want to do, and you're super chuffed about it. It's like, yes, and then your mates ask you what you did, and you go, I added the landing gear compression to the 85X.
Yeah, good job.
I added the scroll bar to the MFTs. That's what I went to uni for. Woo!
Yeah.
Increase the afterburner velocity of the Hurricane. Yeah, okay. It's still a pointless ship, really. And then, yeah. So, like I said, in that list, I mean, what is there in that list? They've tweaked the levels of protection. I mean, what in that list is, Sufti, would you say, I mean, what percentage that we haven't actually seen? I mean, there's a few specific details, granted, that are like, okay, well, that's new. We definitely haven't heard anything about that. But very little. I mean, overall, maybe it's cancelled, but overall, not a lot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't see the problem. I reckon if you had a lawyer, a real genuine lawyer, I think they would struggle. Another lawsuit for CIG, I think they would struggle to hold that one. They would struggle
versus StarCitizen.
NDA. I think they might struggle. I think obviously because you signed the piece of paper, that would obviously be probably against you. But I think if you really had I think they'd struggle, and especially once, like in my industry, like if I was to show you my designs for my shoes, I'd be breaking my company's NDA. I would potentially lose my job and blah blah blah. I'd lose that, because the designs haven't gone public to anyone other than necessarily the factory and then my development team. But the minute that I show that at a trade conference or a conference to any buyer effectively, it then becomes immediately I can show it to anyone after that. Do you know what I mean? It's completely free. But in theory, you shouldn't do it. It's kind of like a polite thing. You don't generally show it to people because then you look like a douche. But
how does that work? So for example, if you show, well, how does that work? Because like CIG has shown the truck stops off.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So
yeah. This is what I mean. I don't see how CIG, in theory, if you were to show the truck stop stuff, which I will show in a second because I have the videos if people are interested, and I will put up an alert for people. So if people don't want to see this, look away.
If people don't want to see what they've already seen.
If people don't want to see the truck stop information, I have a leaked video, which I'm going to quickly just turn the audio down a second. Give me a sec. Unless it's been banned already. Ooh, look, hang on. Is it working? I wonder if this is working now. Oh yeah, no, it's still working. Hang on, let me open it. I don't know what the quality is a bit poor, but hang on, just give me a sec. Miz can't say anything. Do you want me to take you off the screen, Miz? Would that be fine? Would that be better for you?
No.
Okay, so this is the quality. It's not even good quality, to be fair. Look at it. It's blurry as fuck. I don't even know if that's my screen.
Shit, there's signs and everything.
Look, there you go. That's a bit better. That's about it. The quality on this is...
That's dreadful quality. What the fuck did they record it with?
I'm not sure.
Did they record it with a fishbowl over?
Yeah,
there?
look, it's only at 380. It's terrible quality. But look, maybe it's to try and stop the...
Yeah, but you're showing a leak. You might as well go and show the ATV that actually has the truck stop on.
I know.
I know,
Show
right?
that. It's like-
Just go show. Just go to the ATV and just show that because it's gonna be better quality.
Yeah, I mean, I can't open
Just
big
say
because it's
say
blurry
a
as
leak.
fuck.
Just say,
To ruin the watermark. Yeah, that's it. That's what I'm thinking. To ruin the watermark. That's probably what they've done it to keep it low res. But
do they still have the watermark on?
in terms of the trading console, I was like, I watched it and I was like, yeah, it just looks like a more fancy, just looks like Cyberpunk but without the cool NPCs. That's kind of because that's not done
and the
yet.
gameplay
And the gameplay,
dialogue and the
dialogue.
acting and
let's not be too salty. Let's not get too salty. Trading, and then I thought this was cool though because this was kind of cool because again we have seen this. They've showed us this is coming in. We see our ship. Yay! Cool. And then okay now. This is something we have.
My ship by mistake and can't buy it back. We're like, oh fuck.
This is something we have seen.
You have to wait till the next patch to get your ships back.
We've seen this already. I'm just going to come back to the main menu. Hang on, and then we'll talk. We've seen this stuff. They showed it to us on pictures. We've seen the HUD information. What I don't understand, and Twerk mentioned this recently, but we've talked about it way before as well. Heavily, I've never understood. Well, I know why. We all know why. This is not bullshit. It's about money. But I never understood like this whole kind of desperately needing to have Hearthstone in order to put ships to buy, to rent, whatever. It just feels crazy. I think they could easily put a freaking shop
You don't need
to kiosks. You don't. This is my point.
Yeah.
You don't. This is
Kiosk,
just it's all about money.
It's a kiosk. They talked to it that it's a kiosk, which means it doesn't have to be anywhere. So that's just a made-up thing. Or we got to have it here. Well, why? Just stick an extra terminal in any building.
Yeah, just slap a temporary terminal down inside all stars.
Stick it in the back of the freelancer. Put another terminal there. That'd be fine. It makes no difference. Surely, I can't see how it makes a difference.
It's all about money. It's all it is. It's just purely about money. It's because they want to try and either. It's got to be about the money.
It's possibly about money, or it's possibly that it's not ready yet. And instead of just keep saying it's not ready yet,
how can it not be ready? We had working ship rentals that worked in universe. I can go to the store. Yeah. I can go to the online store. I can buy a ship with real money, and it will be within. I could use it in the game within minutes. Within minutes.
Yeah.
Like you're telling me that the hookup isn't there somewhere?
Yeah, it's there. They can flick a switch and give us all specific ships. They can flick a switch and give us all the ships. It's just like we all know the reason. It's just they don't want to do it, and they've had their reasons.
You can't even navigate the website in minutes.
No. I got the purchasing page.
Hey, you got to be concierge for that type of level of service. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, it's true.
Certain levels get access to certain speeds. 20 minutes for the average scrub. So next we have another one. So I'm going to go through these leaks because we just go through them. So I've got a couple here. So we've got another one which is the constellation over Selin. Here we go. I was like, okay. This looks new. Yep. Looks really new. I'm not quite sure what's new about it. Somebody please tell me.
They've taken out the middle support monitors on the Constellation. Is that the Andromeda or is that the
3.2, the power of lasers? No, that was it. I think that was kind of, I didn't understand what that leak was. And then we've got Evocati. This one was kind of interesting. This was kind of cool. Oh no, they've removed it. It's been removed.
Yeah.
It's been removed. This video was very dope. This video was the Evocati player versus AI. Yeah, no, they've removed it. It's been removed. Since the time that it was on, that has been removed. There was an Evocati and I watched it, so that has actually been removed since I did the video. So that's in 2 hours, that's actually video has been taken down for, obviously someone's reported it, but I watched it. Ooh.
So did I. We watched it on the broadcast this morning.
Yeah, that was an Evocati. That was the guy shooting down. So that's obviously been taken down, boys. Why you download videos is under NDA. Exactly. That's true. Very good. I can't download it though because it's on Daily Motion.
On this purpose, like, is there any? I mean, like we said, I don't think necessarily sharing the video footage from Evocati. What's your opinions on whether we should actually have NDA, especially now, like I said, with the whole roadmap telling us exactly what's going in the patch, plus all the ATVs telling us what's going in the patch? Do you think we should still have NDA? Do you think Evocati should still have NDA?
No,
I think it should just be like open for discussion. Again, not sharing the videos.
I think they're always going to get leaks. I think it's clearly the case. The more people they've encouraged to come into Evocati again, because they need people to test all this OCS stuff, because there's just not enough people. I think obviously is going to increase the chances of there being leaks. I think.
But here's the thing. Here's what I really think. I think eventually they will have problems filling out the test environment, the PTU, just the basic PTU, not just Evocati. Right now, it's this exclusive thing where Star Citizen is hot. Eventually, after Star Citizen's been out for a little while, Evocati people will. That's why they're opening up Evocati. Really, is I think they're having problems getting enough Evocati members playing for long enough to actually get any meaningful data from it. It's one of the theories I have.
Link. For some reason, I had the wrong link. For some reason, somebody's just given it to me.
But I mean, the whole original reason for the Evocati was for a test.
Well, we'll come back
focused test without too many repeated bugs.
Yeah.
So
just you test this, you go here, you do that, you don't fight each other.
Okay. We've seen this. I've seen the Mustang. They showed us a ton on the Mustang. This is not new. I'm not surprised.
They did an entire RTV on the Mustang.
They showed us all the colours. They even showed us the Delta in high res, better than this quality, when the guy flew it around and took off. I've seen this. It's nice to see it again, but it's not particularly new. I've seen it. The only thing I would say is in the green, it really does feel like a Klingon bird of prey, don't you think? It really feels like a Klingon bird of prey.
Especially with the landing gear up.
Just nowhere near as powerful, but it's kind of, it's like, okay, cool. I'm just cool with it. I think the only thing that I thought was more of a genuine leak, in my opinion, was the combat one. This felt like a legit leak, because this was showing me more of the actual AI in the game. But again, they've shown us the AI. Well, I think the first thing is it just showed you how rubbish the AI is still. But I mean, other than that, it was like
you that you get paid for killing people.
Yeah. Money awarded, woo, which was great. But I mean, like again, I've seen it.
I think Evocati should go away. I think I think people should be allowed to talk about it.
I just don't think the NDA should. I think the NDA should go away. Now we know what's coming and everything. Because there's no point keeping it up.
There's a truck stop. I just, I think it looks dope. Gotta be careful what we end up with.
Usual seats just hanging out.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing new. In my opinion, it doesn't feel like anything new.
Where's the truck? We were lied to. The truck is a lie.
Where's the truck? There's no trucks. No trucks. I just downloaded the video so hard. Oh, shut up, Ant. I'm all right, fine.
If he downloads the video to then re-upload it to show for the podcast, then he's aiding and abetting the leak and probably get banned. So stick with somebody else.
I was so excited for the truck stops. I love trucks. Woo. Yeah, I can't wait for there to be trucks type of ships.
Trucks are in 3.5.
Would be cool. So, yeah, like I would say, I think like all things, like they talk about, how things move on and things change. I think the Evocati needs to be really looked at. I think the NDA situation for that needs to be looked at again. I think honestly, the times with the roadmaps have changed things, with the amount of information that they've been showing us have changed things. I genuinely don't think the NDA needs to be there. I think if they are going to keep it, I think it's fine to keep it so people can't stream it. If they want to keep it in that sense, keep it so people can't stream it. But I think people talking and putting notes up and,
they already do. They already talk. They already put notes up. They
People already
stream
do
stuff.
So
they upload videos.
I don't. I think when you get into I don't think so. I don't know what do you guys think in chat? Do you think that they should keep NDAs? Should be kept 100%? Do you think they should be as it is, never change? Or do you think it's a bit silly now? And let me know what you guys think in chat. We have questions open. I think was it open?
Questions is open. Exclamation mark question in chat to get to the form. Fill it in there. You can also ask us questions in chat as well directly, if you wish. But we may miss those more than we will on the form. So if you want to make sure that you get a question in, submit it on the form. Yeah.
Exactly. I think so. I think I honestly feel that they've done a lot of things have changed and we've moved on, and they keep changing their end with certain things. I honestly think Evocati can change as well. I honestly do. I think it's maybe they keep it because it makes people feel special. Do you know what I mean? And they do like that. They already do that with it's very clever kind of system. They do that with the concierge system. It keeps that type of people from normal people telling them how stupid they are, so that they can surround themselves with equally stupid people, and then they feel safe and secure in their stupidity.
Wow.
Whereas with it's anyone's it's common sense. That's what you do. Whereas with Evocati, it's you can kind of put everybody together who clearly have far too much time in their lives to be able to do this for free. So you can put them all together, make them feel safe and secure. That's a bubble as well.
kind of like a daycare for Star Citizen fans.
It is, and before I go away, I love both of those groups. I love you guys who've given us extra $60 million towards the game. You're awesome. And the people that dedicate this extra time to do the bugs and things, I love you as well. So just, but I'm still going to take the piss out of you. What else do we have on the list of great things to do? Oh, yes. Okay, so we've done the leaks. There is some sneak peeks, which are official sneak peek leaks. So these are official things. So they showed us, this is, I believe, I'd like one of you to confirm if this is true. This is a sneak peek showcasing the updated environment blending on Daymar. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly show this again.
Ooh, I saw this one. I didn't share it. I didn't share it because I didn't think it was official.
Yeah, now I don't know if this is official or not because this was on Reddit, so I'm not sure if this is official. It looks just like a picture of rocks to me, and someone could have been taking the piss. But if someone knows that's official or not, that would be cool. But what it got me interested in, and it got me thinking about, was ray tracing.
Shadows.
Was ray tracing, and what ATV got me thinking about, because they were talking about the sun, and ray tracing is all about light ultimately, and increased fidelity and all the rest of it. And I was thinking, well, with the new graphic cards coming, and they talked about it a little bit on Con 42, they were asked the question about would they use it, and they said, well, if it proves to improve fidelity and make things better by a considerable amount, then we will consider it, was what Brian Chambers basically said. And I think that if he's saying that, I wouldn't be surprised if Chris is kind of going, look, this is literally if any game out there potentially would adopt ray tracing fairly early on into its development and to make it look the best, greatest game of all time, would be Star Citizen. I mean, it's all about looking good, looking pretty, being the next thing, taking the technology to the next place. So I honestly, I know I'm driving everyone to be like, shut up, Madness, that's another 10 years to the development time. But I genuinely say, of all the games that could potentially adopt it and take it on board to make it better,
I can't see Chris Roberts doing it. I'm going to side with Chris Roberts' sanity here. I'm going to side with the sane Chris Roberts here. He wouldn't do it. There's too much work left for them to go back and suddenly start digging up large chunks of the engine to support a technology for a card that no one else has messed with. They would be the first adopters to really kind of dig into this. I know Shadows of the Tomb Raider, I believe, is one of the first games on the market that is supposed to support ray tracing, but it doesn't. It's going to get it added in a later patch, I believe, if it hasn't already been patched in. And I can't think of any other game right now that supports ray tracing tech. And the cards aren't even on the market yet that have that ray tracing technology. And it's NVIDIA. It's a proprietary technology.
Yeah.
So I mean, Vulcan would make more sense. Supporting Vulcan, like it's too early to adopt that. And I think Chris Roberts, if I take in my mind, okay, if Chris Roberts was sane and not a complete madman, what would he do? He would probably not try to put ray tracing in at this point in development.
It
wouldn't make too much sense.
Not now. and not now, and I'm definitely not saying now because there's no way. But I think
maybe years
I
from
think
now, you'd consider looking at it.
Squadron
seriously.
42 episode 3, bit like how if anyone remembers Star Wars, they had like certain visual effects, and actually all movies do this. Every few years new technology comes along and they improve, and like Industrial Light and Magic, there was an improvement to, I don't know if it was the gamma, the way they produce and figure out the color, because RGB, the way we see color is different. I can't remember the actual process. I'll remember the name, but there's a difference between the first one and the second and third one. And the first and the second, and the third one they changed the game. Your screen, it's the screen. It's to do with the monitor, the way that the color is. It's to do with, when you do in visual effects, it's the way it's to do with the color. Oh my god, there's a fucking word for it, and I cannot remember for it.
You're like, your eyes don't see blue very well, so that's one of the reasons, or green or something. Your eyes don't see green very well. Rods and cones in your eyes. You have more cones in your eyes that receive blue, I believe.
It's to do with monitors.
It's
not to do with eyes. It's to do with monitor. It's to do with the monitor. No, I know, but I cannot remember what it's called now. And
I think I've seen it before. Something to do with the rods and cones in your eyes and how the monitors and the pixels are set up in the monitor, because you had RGB monitors.
Gamma. It's the color gamma. It's the color gamma. It's to do with color gamma. No, gamma. No, gamma. It's gamma. It's definitely going on. Let me do it. Hang on.
Color temperature.
I'm like, live stream. We'll do it. No, okay. Anyway, so
this is a live stream. Yeah, welcome to live.
We'll figure it out.
Welcome to Dementia Live. Well,
Dementia Live.
Dementia in real time. This is what happens when you have a wife, 2 kids, and
I
a real job.
need to figure this out, because when you get something and it's gnawing at you, that's what it is.
So basically, what they're trying to say is, no.
The color gauntlet, the Infinity Stones. You got the yellow, the green, and the red Infinity Stones, and what each one rules over a separate part of your eye. And when Thanos collects all 3 of them, everybody gets color. Everybody gets the same vision as a dog. Color blindness.
It's called gamma color correct. It was to do with gamma color correction. Yeah. It's color correction. It's to do with film. It's to do with the way. The value of film
cleared that up.
It's to do with the characteristic curves to show the traditional gamma values in the slope. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's to do with that. It's decode luminance and values in video. It's to do with a lot of the video settings, because of the way that film is filmed on certain screen size and resolution size. And what it would do is they would do it back to front. Like I said, I can't remember the ins and outs, but it was very simple, and they some clever person figured it out and they flipped it. And so your monitors basically is incorrect. So what you're doing and the changes you do on the monitor are incorrect. So you have to make an adjustment within the visual effects, within like Maya and other programs, like a filter that enables you to see it correctly. And it darkens often the image, but then when it renders out to brighter, and it's fucking amazing. And they did that in film, and my point was that was a new technology that came along, and it totally transformed the visual effects industry. It was very simple, very small thing, but it changed the way people did the process of making visual effects. So things would become integrated better into the scene, so it would make things more seamless. It was harder to tell that it was a visual effects asset versus one before, and it was very, very simple. It was very cool, very, very cool piece of tech. And I'm just thinking the same thing for ray tracing. Is kind of the similar type of thing. It improves the game, improves the quality, and I just think it will happen. Maybe not now, but I do think I wouldn't be surprised if it's in for maybe like a Squadron 43. That would be where they might bring it in for an episode or something. They could make it RTX compatible or something for one of the future ones. I don't know. Anyway, sorry, it took forever to explain that. I do
totally lost what the fuck was going on there.
Yeah, I lost it in class as well. Sorry.
My opinion is, I mean, Brian already said it, that basically RTX, they won't be using it unless they feel the need, which means that yes, maybe in the future. But I think
I'm hoping for the same.
The point I'm with Vertigo is the fact that they've had enough delays as it is, and they really want to get Squadron 42 out. They're not going to start fucking about with even more technology, because it's like anything. Every 2 years there's another thing that comes out that's new, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes it's better to let the technology play out a little bit and see whether it actually sticks before start using it.
Right now,
ray tracing will stick.
You can implement VR, but by the time it comes out,
it will stick. Ray tracing will stick. It's like, if it's been in the film industry for a while now, the way that it kind of like, again, it makes the light, it makes things fit better. It makes things more accurate. The way the light bounces around off things.
The problem with that is in the film industry, it takes days to render out scenes with ray tracing. It makes it look beautiful, mind you, but they have, high-powered workstations, the Titan GPU. That's what the Titan GPU was designed to do for Pixar. You would have like 3 of those fuckers in a workstation, and it would be rendering frames all day.
They have more than that. They have render farms. They have
they'd have
literally
giant
giant rooms to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and what the RTX is designed to do is designed to take a simplified version of ray tracing and put special cores on the GPU that just do ray tracing. That's all it does on the GPU, and it renders 2 frames. It simultaneously renders a ray tracing frame and another frame that is standard render, and then it overlays those 2, and it does it very quickly. Unfortunately, NVIDIA is the only one that has it right now, from my understanding. There's no ray tracing equivalent from AMD or any other manufacturer. So we're very early in this technology, but I do believe it'll stick around. Like if someone's found a way to do it quickly and efficiently using some hardware and some special software hookups, and it makes everything look even better, then great. You're probably going to see it more of in the future. But right now, I don't think Chris Roberts is going to stop everything to introduce a technology that has yet to prove itself and is in its infancy into Star Citizen. Maybe, like you said, maybe Squadron 46 or
he's a gambler. He's a wildcat. He's a guy that likes to kind of go for the latest and greatest. I think, if he was to be proven and shown, like, he's going to see stuff that you and I won't see. He'll have NVIDIA people, experts, showing them all of this stuff to a level that we never see. They'll be behind the scenes stuff, and so they'll be able to sit there and kind of, they'll do the pitch and the sale, and they'll ask all the hard questions that I don't know.
If this was 2012, if the ray tracing had just released and we had traveled back in time and ray tracing had released in 2012 or 2013, I think Chris Roberts probably would put a stretch goal into the fundraising campaign for ray tracing, just like the Oculus Rift is in there. But where is Oculus Rift support officially for Star Citizen? Can anybody use their VR headsets in Star Citizen without throwing up?
Yeah, I don't know.
Knowledge,
but that's why I think
anything about that.
But sorry, I think this is why I think Star Citizen, of all the games that can adopt it, of all the games, I think Star Citizen is the game that can adopt it. Because when you think of, like, again, ATV, they were talking about the suns and the way that the sun is and the power of the sun and how they're building the light and everything else. If there's any game that's going to take ray tracing and put it on the map, it's actually, no, it's not just, there'll be many other games as well. But generally, in my opinion,
depends on how much work's involved. But I don't think they're going to just jump straight on it.
No, I agree. Right. This was the racing variant of the Cyclone.
Mm-hmm.
Looks cool. I was like, again, sneak peek picture.
It does
pretty
look cool.
Pretty badass.
It does look cool. And what I've said before is I'm very disappointed that they decided not to strap 2 giant jet engines to the back of the fucking thing. I would love to have seen a version that just had a half of an M50 hanging out the ass end to push it along.
That would be funny. Just strapped to it.
Yeah. Just come on, a rocket sled. Let's do it.
Does it look much different to the normal one, other than the color?
The back's
got the back end filled in.
It's like a Hummer to me. I got the Hummer vibe on it. It looks like, it reminds me of like a kind of a racing Humvee. I was like, get to the Hummer, pretty much. Arnie, I can just feel the Arnie quotes on that one. But yeah. It's pretty cool.
Because we can't see the front very much to see if that's changed, but other than that, it doesn't look.
Yeah, it might have a different kind of materials. They might have tweaked the materials a little bit on the front.
It's red because it's obviously you go faster with red.
Of course.
Yeah, red ones go faster.
Oh yeah.
Essentially, they've taken it had like like a truck, a lorry, not a large one, like just just a normal truck, and they filled in the flatbed with the I guess another engine or something, a bigger engine of some kind.
There's going to be a lot of jumping backwards and forwards here, guys. I don't want to kind of like, but
the wheels still fall off like the rest of them.
No, they've improving that, aren't they? They're fixing.
Oh, that was actually in the patch notes. Yeah. That was actually in the patch notes for 3.3. Yeah, they've toughened. No, that wasn't in the patch notes. That was in the. Was that in the last ATV? They've toughened up the wheels.
I think it was ATV. They talked about toughening up the wheels. I think, or it was somewhere anyway. In all the myths of all the videos, we've seen them improve. They
all just start blurring together after a while.
They do. We have the roadmap, and I don't want to like this. It is a little sad, if I'm honest. It is a little bit sad when you see further big red lines going through everything. Unfortunately, to say da da da. And this is to answer the question. Somebody says, "What's left in 3.3 that's good? What's genuinely left? I mean, is 3.3 just a shell of a patch again? Is it just Is it just garbage patch? Is it really that good? Is it just continued 3.0 just with a little bit of the... Is it the 3.0 that we originally were promised still lingering? You know what I mean? It's that whole... What is new?
Not what was originally promised.
Yeah, and we've talked about this. I think we've talked about this before on our podcast, where we asked the question, "What would 3.3 look like without OCS?" Yeah. And this is it. Welcome to what it looks like.
This is it.
And without other stuff, isn't it? It's not just OCS.
So
OCS. They stopped doing a lot of stuff because they wanted to concentrate on OCS. That's what they said. So it was like pushing towards getting OCS done. So they stopped with a lot of things. So that's why a lot of that's gone.
Yeah.
So I'll go through it. We've got a new mission. We've got a new mission giver. Cool. Okay, that's good. More missions. That's great. We have some pro armor. Virgil True Death pro armor. We have RSI Odyssey flight suit rework. We have some small rest stops. We have ship system degradation. Yay, because that's more things I need to go wrong with my ship. We've got scramble race missions, improvements to retrieval and delivery missions, FPS combat missions, which is great. Asteroid mining, which is more of the same, but that's okay. Improvements to mining on planetary bodies. Cool. Transit systems, shipboard ping and scanning improvements, I guess, because we already have the kind of that. Arena Commander and Star Marine Wreck Rentals is back again, people. That's something new. Is it really new? It's like, is that new?
Not really. We already had the ability to rent stuff, but it looks like Star Marine's going to have some rentals. Maybe you're going to have to rent guns and armor.
New old shit.
Like, that's old shit back again. Like, that was kind of, yeah. There was a big capper after the end of that sentence. Really, I couldn't really do it, but, that's what I was thinking. Groups, super sarcasm there. Group system improvements. Cool. Improvements on manned and remote turrets. Again, turrets are forever being improved. Obviously,
that
really
comes
difficult.
Someone said it, it's like, is there a patch where turrets don't get some sort of work?
It's because they're just wrong. They just can't do it. You sometimes think to yourself, at some point, you just go, maybe...
Well, I was going to bring this up. Like, do you think, like, if they can't get turrets to work, they're going to just go with some really basic system that doesn't feel realistic, but at least they work? It's like, I don't know, you can just shoot and hit. I think
it will be...
press a button, line it up, fire.
Yeah.
5 years. It all depends on the hammerhead.
You've got that red dot on the ship, it's fine.
The biggest melon that will arrive on the scene is the hammerhead. If the hammerhead comes into the game and the turrets are shit, I am going to laugh my ass off, because it's just going to be hilarious watching people who spent a fortune on this freaking ship and they can't do
Chris Roberts. He
nothing.
loved that scene from Star Wars Episode 4 where Han Solo and Luke Skywalker were in the Millennium Falcon trying to shoot down the TIE fighters. He loved that, and that's where the man turrets have always come from. Every Wing Commander game, you always had the option to man turrets, and it's just, without the Wing Commander flight model, it's gonna be awful. With the way ships handle their, and they said, I saw the leak today. Did you get that, Madness? Did you get that picture today?
Which one?
There was a picture.
If you have it,
do I have it in my Discord?
If you have it, either drop it in Discord.
It was on Reddit.
In a film,
depends which
that's
one.
always good. Like the whole turret thing always looks good. Like, it's a very cinematic thing. Like, that's what you're trying to say. But in a game, I don't know. Has there been any game that's successfully done good turreting in a multiplayer game?
Not in a multi.
Oh, in the modern terms, like with the, I don't know. I haven't played any games with them decent turrets other than Battlegrounds,
Battlefield.
I'll have to think about it. Maybe we'll do a turret focus podcast. Maybe when we've got nothing else to talk about, we can do a turret focus one. And when they're not working. But,
anyways,
it's clearly
the picture I'm talking about. The picture I'm talking about was CIG confirming for 3.4 the IFCS reworks.
Oh yeah, I've got that one.
Fractal.
Yeah, I've got that one.
Yeah, okay.
That was on my second. If you look at the document, that's like number 2. This is literally my next page. I think my next picture.
We're still on number 1.
Yeah. My next picture. That's literally my next picture.
Anyways, continue.
Yeah, so we're going through, because this is to answer that question for what we're getting. That's good. So we've got item kiosk shopping improvements, which is great, because I'm really happy that they've improved the ability to see what I'm buying, because I don't know about a lot of other people. It is quite tricky to remember all the names of things and being able to see them is just easier. I find it easier anyway, being my visual person. So I'm really happy they brought that in, and I don't
want to have to bounce over to a wiki or some sort of database to compare stats outside the game. I don't have to alt tab, go to some sort of web page. I should be able to look up what the numbers are in the game because the game has the numbers already. Just be able to see them.
Super happy with the improvements to the AI behavior. Super happy to hear. I mean, until I obviously don't know how good they are, but I'm glad they're improving the AI behavior. I'm sure it will be improved again. We've got obviously the movement smoothing. This can't say anything, but the movement smoothing is great. Very happy about that. Very happy with FPS combat. I think the fact that we're actually going to be able to engage with combat at career and shoot things, I think that's going to be brilliant. I can't wait to try that myself. And then we have the new ships. So we have the Aegis Hammerhead. We're talking about turrets. This could be hilarious if that comes in and turrets suck. And that brings up to a question.
Is there very much there? I mean, to
Tumble
me,
Cyclone,
the one
FOIP
probably thing that I
integration.
Look forward to
FOIP integration.
FPS with AI.
Yeah, I'm
all right.
saying.
So we can talk. We can lamblast, or we can roast CIG here a little bit.
Well,
we can roast them a little bit. We can.
Okay. I'm just going to start off by saying no. I know. I'm going to start off by saying I'm just going to say I never make a computer game, okay? And I'm pretty sure most of the content creator people out there haven't made a computer game. I am not about to criticize them. I'm not about to, speak for myself. Maybe Sean is, but I'm not going to criticize CIG. I know it's going to sound shocking, but I'm not going to criticize them for development delays. I'm disappointed by them, but I'm not going to criticize them for it this time around because this has got 11 core features coming in. It's a huge amount of information that they have, a huge amount of newness that needs to come into the game. They've been working on it for a long time. It's clearly very difficult, very hard. So the fact that they've moved it to a halfway point between a 3.35. It still could make 3.4, I know. But I'm I'm not going to judge them until the end of the year based on what I see. I still think this year has been a very good year in terms of new things, some positive changes. I get salty, and this is why I want to be really clear. I get very angry with CIG's bullshit that's off the game development more than necessarily on the game development, because I know there's a lot of people working really hard to make this game work. What I get really annoyed with is when Chris makes silly decisions like the digital pass. They do stupid PR marketing things. They do silly, stupid decisions, or they make themselves look greedier than they always are. They keep making their image look like a scam citizen, or they're just stupid. And I get salty about that. I get salty about when I play something and it sucks. So turrets, they keep telling me it's improved and I play it and it sucks. That's when I get salty, because I played it and I've tried it and it's not very good. Or if they fuck up my glass on my Gladius, or they take away the HUDs. That was stupid. That type of stuff, which is nonsensical. That's when I get salty and I get frustrated. But everything else, when it comes to, they know best. Ultimately, I do not know. I am not a game developer. So I go with what they say. And if it's hard, and it looks like it's still going to come, we're still going to get Citizencon. We're still going to get a live stream. We're still going to get these patches and loads of content coming in the next couple of months. So there's nothing to be that salty about until we play it and it sucks. Then we can get salty. But other than that, it's fine. Sorry, that's just my view on it. I don't know what you guys think. You go for it. You talk.
Well, I have some salt to spread around, I guess. 3.3 is probably going to be turned out for a very light patch. I understand game development's hard and whatnot, and sometimes hard decisions have to be made. But 3.3 is going to be somewhat of a light, or I'm trying to think of a proper word here, like a patch that people are probably going to be ignoring a little bit, unless you have very specific ships. The scramble races, if you don't own a racing vehicle, chances are scramble races, you're not going to be able to participate. If you just have an Aurora, this entire patch you'll be able to skip. If that's all you have, because unless you have a Hammerhead, who's going to care? If you don't have a ground vehicle to race, who's going to care? Unless they have scramble races in space. I haven't heard anything about that.
But you can wreck it in Star Marine now, in Arena Commander, so you might be able to fly the Hammerhead in the
free flight.
The wreck thing.
Versus the universe.
I don't know about them in most of the
okay, carry on. Sorry, I'll comment afterwards.
So carry on. So if you don't have the Hammerhead, like, who cares? If you don't have a prospector, you're going to miss the mining updates. If you don't have any of the new cyclones, who cares? You're not going to have a reason. Not to be a reason to be interested. If you don't have the constellation Phoenix, I mean, there you go. So the patch is actually very light. If you just have an Aurora, if the only ship you have is an Aurora, a single ship, like, the patch is going to be fairly light for you.
I mean, so for me, it's the
AI combat.
I think it's happening here. Well, we know it's been delayed because of the object container stream. Now, we've also know that they said that they were pushing back a lot of the work on other stuff just so they can get the OCS working. Now, because of this whole new system that he's got where they're going to release a patch every quarter, this is why we've got less in 3.3. Any other year where they weren't doing this patch would have just been a delayed patch. We would have still had everything in it, but it wouldn't have been on time. It would have been, we have no, like that big drought where we had no patch. 2.63.
Great.
2.63.
Oh, that patch. That was a great patch. I'm so happy for that long delay.
When we had that massive gap with nothing.
I appreciate that.
So what this is like, well, we're going to stick to what we promised, which is keep delivering a patch. So they're delivering a patch whether it's got much in it or not.
Yeah, it still has a lot. It's still got a lot. It's still got. I mean, like, I'm with chat. It's got the FPS. It's got AI FPS. It's got. It's still got quite a lot of things. But I don't disagree with you. This is when it comes to the bullshit. I agree with you.
I do think it's
got a few things. FOIP.
It's a good thing. It's a good
system. FOIP system, environmental blending shader, performance optimizations coming in. They've got some new weapons. They've got some new vehicles. It's not as big as it was. But granted, because it doesn't have the core gameplay mechanics, but as a patch, it's not realistically that much worse than any of the other ones that have come before it. So we didn't grumble too much about it then.
I just wanted to. That's something I've seen and read around. I just wanted to kind of put out there for everybody to address.
It's a good comment.
I've seen that. I've seen people complaining about this patch is going to be light or under content because Hurston's out. I'm like, no, there's still some good stuff coming in here. I just kind of want to put that out here to you two to see what you thought about that.
I've commented on the Chris Roberts made a comment on talking about paywalling, and he doesn't like paywalling, and yet it's absolutely clear, and this is the bit I do find the bullshit on. I've talked about this before, is I've always said, anyone knows me, and I've been talking about this adamantly for ages, that CIG has been so slack to give people access to ships that are irrelevant to patches. The fact that we still have the prospector stuck behind a paywall is a travesty. And I agree that certain ships shouldn't be stuck behind paywalls. And I've always said to people as well, if you are a new person, if you're new to the stream and you've got StarCitizen and you don't have much money, you don't want to spend it too much, you've got a little bit of money, get yourself, when it goes to PTU, get yourself the $10, whatever it is, subscription. You can do it 4 times a year because we have 4 patches now, and you'll be able to get access to lots of new ships because subscribers get access to the PTU, and then you can fly all these ships, and you probably get to Hammerhead for a month, and you'll get extra perks and all the rest of it. It's actually worth doing it for those patch releases. Now potentially you might be able to do it again because there'll be a 3.35 and be able to drop. I mean, if they're doing them simultaneously, I'm really curious to see how that's going to work. If you're a subscriber, if you're going to then in theory be able to get access to the PTU for the 3.3 and the PTU for the 3.35.
Now, here's the thing. Before we go any further, they have done patches where they don't bother updating the PTU access. And if you had access to the previous PTU, they said, well, you're just going to have access to this current one. They've done that before where you don't have to resubscribe. They have. I've seen that.
That was an old system because that was not making them any money, and they were happy for it. But the new system where they make money from it is a good system for them. So therefore, they will.
No. I've seen that subscribers. With I saw that was like 3.1. I saw it with like 3.1 and 3.2.
Select is that select people? Is that the one? Because they used to do this system where they have a select group of people for like tier 1, and then it's subscribers and then concierge and.
Well, I had to subscribe for 3.1 and 3.2, so there was times where they just allowed me to use my old login information. They did like a day PTU or something. No,
I'm not saying pay one in the PTU. What I'm saying is that's a system that they have that enables you, if you don't have much money, you don't have to buy any of the ships through the rest of the year. For $40 a year, you can fly all the ships for 4 months. If you think about it,
if you just want to test out ships,
if you just want to enjoy the game,
and before you buy,
and you don't have to. And I'm not saying I'm saying that's the cheapest way to do it. If there's any way to do it, that's the cheapest way to enjoy StarCitizen, in my opinion. besides, so you're talking about $100 for the year if you wanted to enjoy the game now with all the stuff and get ships to play that are interesting and all the rest of it. I think CIG should be giving this stuff for free. I don't think we should have to pay for it. Okay, there's no question in my mind it should be for free, and CIG should do it. And I think there's no excuses why we haven't been able to rent ships. We talked about it a second ago about the kiosks. There's no reason why they're, in my opinion. Why are they not in?
The not being able to rent ships or purchase ships inside the PTU is the only thing I'm upset with over the split. That is the only thing I'm upset with. Chris Roberts got
again.
I want to say a bunch of mean things, but I'm going to hold back. Chris Roberts just had the idea that he's going to have ship kiosk on Hearthstone, and then I'm thinking to myself, as soon as I heard that, Hearthstone's going to get pushed back. Ship purchasing is going to go with it, and I'm going to be angry. And here I am. I'm upset.
Yeah, you can do the open PTU for sure, but then you're going to less time. That's all I'm saying. For the maximum amount of time to enjoy it, you can pay the extra $10. You get in early. You get maybe a week or two, whatever it is, depends on until it gets booked. Because by the time it gets to open, it's longer. But and also if you're concierge, you get it for free. Well, not free. You've already paid for concierge, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I've paid.
No such fucking things free.
I just recently got into concierge too. Mostly it's all the giveaways I do that pushed me in there.
Most streamers do. I'm the same. I got into them mainly through giveaways. But like I say, that's just my thoughts on it. I'm just saying. The way I look at it is they obviously aren't changing their thing. So you need, as a streamer and a content creator, you need to find ways to help different people's financial situations. Some people don't have much money, so at least I can offer them a path to enjoy the game because CIG isn't doing it for them. That's the best way to describe it. They're not really providing that experience, so I have to find a way using it to say, hang on, you could try this might work for you if you're interested. And that's kind of like what I'm saying. There are ways to try and minimize the cost to be able to still enjoy the game. If you obviously are a person that has money and you're willing to spend it and on the game, that's fine. The reason why I say that is because I don't know how many times I get blamed by people saying, well, you don't have to back the game. You don't have to pay for the concept ships. It's no one's putting a gun to your head, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, no one's putting a gun to our head. But then if I want to enjoy the game, I have to kind of have the gun behind my head. Do you know what I mean? It's like they always seem to somehow forget that there is a paywall there. So anyway, right. So 3.3.5 is cool. I'm excited about it because it's got all the stuff we want. I'm curious when it's going to be mid
Q4 2018.
So this is technically, because I'm guessing 3.4 will now be because that says Q4. So 3.4 is Q4. Yeah.
And was going to be probably December 30th, 1st or something, whatever, January 1st or something like that would be my guess.
Yeah. So I'm like, they've got such a truncated window of time now leading up to 3 months?
It's going to be like 6 to 8 weeks where we're going to get 3 patches. And it's a very short amount of time. We're going to about 3 patches. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Really
so... And that's what I'm excited about. That's why I'm not salty, because I'm like, we got so much content coming.
Well, no. Let me up the salt factor here.
Okay,
let me put a scenario down. Either
exactly.
335 may slip into 3.4. We get so close. Chris Roberts just says, "F it," and we're close enough. We're just gonna push it into 3.4. Yeah. Or 3.4 is gonna get pushed back a little bit, a month or two, because unfortunately
they won't push it back. They won't push it back. They won't push it back. I don't think they'll push 3.3.5 back. That could get into January, but 3.4 will release on time, I think. It just might not have all the bits in it. There might be a few things that they can't do because it pushes the server too much.
ArtCorp may get pushed back, and then Hearthstone slips in there. Like I said, I've said this before. We can get OCS without Hearthstone. We can get OCS with Hearthstone, but we cannot get Hearthstone or ArtCorp without OCS. We're up, like Chris Roberts said on his interview, we are up against the sensible memory limits for StarCitizen. Unless we want to increase the memory requirements for everyone playing up to 32 gigabytes, which is insanity, in my opinion. Like, I'm a streamer, I'm running 32 gigabytes, and I'm streaming and playing StarCitizen off the same tower, which makes sense because I'm trying to get the same machine to do a lot of work. But for the average gamer, you're looking at 8 gigabytes to 16 gigabytes, which would be a reasonable expectation for StarCitizen. But right now we're up against 16, and they want to, you want to think about pushing it up to 32. Yeah, that ain't happening.
Yeah,
especially
I mean,
with memory prices these days.
Again, this is where we can kind of guessing, and I think all this ultimately comes down to usually it's just bragging rights between streamers and content creators to be able to say, "Hey, I was right, you were wrong." That's all it comes down to. Seriously.
I got the 128. I got the 128 gigabytes of RAM, and I'm running Star Citizen at 32 frames per second constantly.
It's just brag rights. It's just, I was watching it going, and I was going, "This is so much brag rights."
Their FPS, and it's like, why are you doing that? Because you could 10 minutes later, or by the time you've alt tabbed back into the game, your frame rates drop because someone else has joined the server.
Yep.
It's so important to people to be accurate. It's so important for streamers to be the first people to be accurate with whatever the ship giveaway is or whatever the because they can be the same to say, "Hey, see, look, I told you, I knew that was what was going to happen. I knew
it's going to be an alien ship next month. For the next concept is going to be a Jean cargo ship, garbage truck, or a Jean race ship or something."
95% of the stuff that they've said throughout the rest of the year has been utter bullshit and wrong for about 5 years. But the one little thing that they probably already knew about because somebody told them he was close to somebody, they're accurate about, and so therefore they have the bragging rights, and suddenly they're the fountain of all knowledge.
Madness, you play Dungeons and Dragons. If you roll that D20 often enough, eventually you'll get a critical success.
Exactly.
Eventually, at some point.
Exactly. And I think that's...
And then you can keep waiting, but eventually.
That's what it comes down to.
Then you can bask in its glory of the natural 20. Of the,
So I have no time for it. That's why I'm like, I'll go through it and I'll talk about it, but the reality is the CIG will do what's right, and that's it. And so I'll wait to see whatever they produce. But we can guess. I don't mind guessing. If people ask me, I'll go, okay, I'll tell you maybe this date.
Next ship's going to be a Jean.
I don't know.
Spa.
I don't make games.
Mobile Spa.
Yeah, I can tell you what I'm excited about. Hurston.
Vandal.
I'm very excited about it. I can tell you I'm excited about bind culling and the improvements that should bring. I'm excited about new ships. I'm excited about Art Corp. I'm excited about seeing the size of all the first planet in game and then flying to it, and the atmosphere being thicker and the feeling of that, the atmosphere burning out my atmosphere, how long that is going to take.
Super. It was like 1/4 scale Super Earth and 4 moons. We would get with Hurston, we'll get more play space than anything we have right now. Like, it would be a maddening expansion of play space.
Yeah.
We don't need more play space. We need more play.
That's too bad. Bad.
And I'm disappointed that IFCS changes are not going to be until 3.4. But again, that's 3 months. I waited fucking a year for 3.0, and it was a letdown, and it broke the spine of ICS. So waiting 3 months to see what the next one is I just like... Literally, it's just like, what the fuck ever type of thing. You know what I mean? It's like, who cares? Well, no point getting salty about it. It really isn't a big deal. 3 months is nothing. Nothing. If you've been... Those people... I talk to people who've been waiting, like Britain, like Miz... How many years have you been following this game for? And he still hasn't got his Winnebago.
4 years. Almost. My closest ship to the Winnebago now, which is the Mercury.
Mine is October,
but that's probably like 2 years out.
Yeah.
There are people out here who have waiting years. People haven't got their Banu merchantments yet. They haven't got their carracks yet. They haven't got things yet. And there's some people are still optimistic and very positive and just like calm. It's no big deal. So at the end of the day, for you guys, I'm saying 3 months isn't a big deal. I'll wait, and hopefully they'll get it right and they listen to the right people. And the fact that this leak, by the way, I don't know if anyone knows, the leak that was on Reddit with the picture of it, it's not even a leak, it's just a screenshot, is from AOTW, who are some amazing pilots. A load of guys, some of these guys are ex Squadron, Rogue Squadron, and other people I know, and they're all very good pilots. So the fact that they're talking is great news, and I'm very hopeful that they will be communicating with the new FCS system to get it right.
It's a shame we weren't doing this podcast tomorrow because I've got to buy some leaks. With a couple of leaks in my hand.
Good stuff there. And then that's kind of it in terms of the leak section, and kind of if everyone, we've kind of covered it. We've seen the videos. There's no real. I'm kind of like. The way I look at it is just somebody did actually raise a really interesting question, and which was they intend to go to straight to 3.3.5. So they didn't go 3.3.1, 3.3.2, they went straight to 3.5. I think they had the same math teacher, because when I was doing math, you round up from 5. So I'm guessing that's probably why they did it.
It's so that they've got room for this first patch that comes out in the PTU, so they can add and.
I think Jared
for a few patches.
Addressed
they got
that.
room to do 3.1.3.2.
He addressed that on one of the RTVs I watched, and he said we reserve the right to do a 331, 332, 333, 334, 335. But the cutoff for them is going to be 335 is going to have OCS Hurston. All the stuff. That's
it's all, I think sometimes it's just like if they need to patch something, then they do a new build. It depends on how broken the 3 build is. They've done it before on another patch. We've had 3.3.1 or whatever. Well, that's what 2.6.3 was, wasn't it? It was like a second iteration of.
There'll be 3.3. It'll be 3.3.4.1.
4.5.6.3.
It's just fucking numbers. You'll get what patch you
it's
get.
All arbitrary. It's all fucking
out.
arbitrary.
I think that was quite amusing that they just jumped straight to there, but it makes sense because somebody asked the question. So, right, let's move on to Picture Citizen, which is always great. I always love the pictures on Reddit. This is one of my kind of like brilliant. They just do such a good job. The people from taking screenshots. There's one about the big rig. I don't know if you guys seen it, the big rig, the Idris transport concept art. Did you see that? Did you? Did you guys see that?
Let's see if I can find it.
Also, did you see
the brig? That's the prison inside the Idris. I think you said big rig.
It said big rig.
Yeah.
Did I say? Did I say
big rig?
I did say big rig.
It's a brig. It's a brig. The prison inside the.
Sorry, that's dyslexic. That's just my dyslexia. That's all right.
There you go.
And then I don't know. There's some really fun. There's some really interesting ones. There's really, really cool ones. We've got custom artworks of I'm just going to bring up all the pictures here, and then we'll just go through them all because there's some good stuff here. So, because ATV sucks. It's like 5 minutes, so we'll just. Oh, actually, there's a big conversation which is going to be quite interesting to hear. Right, I'm ready to go.
Should we ask a question?
Yeah, go for it. Ask a question.
So we've got 5 questions from an anonymous coward. He asks, for 3.3, if given the option, would you take option A, the exact same content as we have in 3.2, but working OCS, or option B, new content and delayed OCS? Frames or space?
I'm happy for the delay. So I'm cool with the delay. I'm always about getting more.
I'd have the same content and OCS to make it more playable, more improvements, because then everything else follows after that.
Yeah, I mean, we get OCS in, and then we can start, really getting more stuff, because that's what we're up against, the limits of our memory. And Chris Roberts said that unless we want to expand the memory requirements for the game, we can add more content. But nobody has who the hell has 32 gigabytes just sitting in their computer right now. So if we get OCS in, we can add more stuff, a lot more stuff, many more stuff. So I want OCS.
Definitely want OCS, no question. I'm just happy to wait. I don't mind, but I definitely want it. That's for sure. I've waited this long. To be honest, I'm just waiting for the IFCS. To be honest, to shoot people again properly. So yeah, I'm happy to wait. That's what I'm waiting for. That's all I'm predominantly waiting for, really. Yeah, it's just waiting for combat. That's back again, because I desperately cannot stand mining. It bores me beyond belief. So yeah, I need it badly. Right. Any more questions? Do you want to do another question before I swip over? Because I'm ready to go.
Well, Mr. Coward, we've already answered this one, but I'll just read it so he knows we've read the question out. But do we really need a shop and Hurston to rent a ship in 3.3, or would a terminal on the wall in PO do it in the meantime? Because Alpha, which basically like that's what we said.
Yeah.
We
said it before.
You need Hurston to just rent a ship.
Yeah, we said this at the beginning of the year. Absolutely, we do not. I've never understood why we need it. I've always found it's a cop out in my opinion. But I don't know game development. I'm just saying it just seems like a cop out based on what we can currently do. I'm not sure. I don't know how they would implement it, but I don't get why they can't give people ships, even if they can get it to work. Why haven't they given people ships?
The argue is that they haven't got the UI/interface to do it.
But that's fine. But then if they knew that was going to be the case for over a year, then they, like I've always said before, if you knew that was the case, you should have just giving people, like I've always said, you should give a new starters.
Well, that's a different
Gladiators,
argument. I'm just saying that's the only real reason for a delay on it at the moment is that they haven't built the UI for it. Because it's the same way we've only just got the thing where we can see the weapons and the armor that we're looking at when we get there. So
Yeah, fair.
I'm not saying it was difficult. They couldn't do it. I'm just saying that would be really the only reason for a delay.
I think that was the reason they said, actually, when you actually read up, I think one of the responses they said is the UI. They just didn't have the UI set up, so that makes complete sense. But like I said, I don't think that's a good enough excuse where CRG stops gameplay for players, paywalling and all that stuff. I think that's, sorry, but I think that's a bit of a shame on you, hold your hand out, get smacked type of thing. Right, let's go. I've got a few things here. So the first one... Again, just an idea of scale. I thought this was pretty cool. I love these kind of I don't know how these guys do this, but again, it's just like, how do they do? I want to know how they do this. It's so clever with the eclipse and stuff. It's so cool. It's probably not that difficult, but it just seems difficult. Amazing. This is kind of cool. This is definitely true because we're talking about game development, but this was me. Age 10, actual game development job. Didn't have a game development job, but this is the ending is very much how I feel. After I started reading into StarCitizen and stuff, my knowledge of game development, understanding games and stuff and computers and stuff has gone up a lot. I may not necessarily always know the technical words for stuff, but I know more than I ever did before, that's for sure. This is the brig, which makes total sense now. But what I don't understand is why these glass isn't scratched. Because you'd have thought they would.
These are special anti-prisoner glass. You can't scratch it.
Anti-prisoner can't scratch it.
Yeah.
Damn it! It feels like it should be scratched.
It'd just be cock and balls all over it.
No, yeah. Well, you don't understand. Like this is a work in progress concept art. They haven't got around to it.
Scratch. I forgot. Sorry, it's concept. It hasn't been scratched yet.
Doesn't work on concept.
And I'm just saying because
we'll have these scratches installed by then.
I expect to see a Sean Connery get one of those like a coin and then just scratch a nice big circle and give it the old elbow through the glass to get through, just like in The Rock. That's how I'll be escaping, that's for sure. Fantastic. All right, then we have the Prospector kills.
That break, ages ago.
I don't know. We may have it. Sometimes things just get picked up again. People maybe haven't seen stuff. Have you seen this? So now, okay. Firstly, there was a comment made on the video that someone had tweeted, and I actually agreed with them. I did get a slight uneasy when I saw this because it did, if you do think about it, people all be lining up to be kind of mullered. It doesn't bring back great thought processes. I was like, yeah, I can see how some people, that person could kind of be a bit uncomfortable with it. However, it is a computer game and it's fun.
It is a video game.
What?
It's not real life.
What lining people to get shot?
I think they were thinking of movies, if you think about real travesties in real life. I think this is the problem, is some people just link a little bit too much to real life, but I could see why they might have a bit of an uncomfortable feeling because I
tell these people not to play Lemmings.
But I was like, it's a computer game, and it's also, these are Spanish people and they did have the Spanish Inquisition, so it makes sense. So here we go. You can hear them. Murder!
The thing is, what ruins that is they don't die instantly.
No, I know, right?
Just went like a James Bond laser where it just goes.
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
I know, right?
I mean, it takes that long that it's kind of pointless. You might as well just.
Well, they've got shields on. Your armor has a shield, right? Or does it just put on?
I know, but it just for the point of the video, I get it, but
it didn't have quite the effect. You didn't want them to just go one across and like a lightsaber.
And I thought that's gonna be really funny, and then it just turns out that no, they're just melting.
I think that's why the person was probably got an uneasy feeling because it kind of did. I think that's probably what they were thinking. Is like, this is just a little bit. Okay, this is just. Dark.
I mean, it doesn't make me feel uneasy. I mean, it doesn't make me feel uneasy at all. In fact, I don't mind it.
No, I'm sadistic, so it doesn't really bother me either. But it's just like, I can understand how some people might feel it if they're a bit sensitive. It's the special snowflakes and all.
Don't play games if you're special.
Exactly. Okay, so this person.
Hello Kitty online or something.
Hello Kitty
What-
online
Yeah,
and you can play. Yeah.
I don't mind it at
Bagel.
all. Exactly.
But you-
I think Toby's right. He should have had a big long line and shot from the other end, so it went through them all at once. That
Oh,
would have been-
dude, we will make that happen. Made a
Yes,
quick
it
drawing.
works.
What I love is this person. This is like, it's obviously someone bored at work. It looks like they've drawn this on a notepad as well, which is brilliant. Made a quick drawing of the hammerhead supposed layout, as far as I can determine it from the footage we've seen so far.
Why do people do that?
It's just like, wow. I know it's not perfect.
From the footage I've seen, right? Okay, there's a doorway there. Okay.
I'm like, this is. But you know what though? This is the passion. This is what I love about the passion and love.
I'm
for this
just
game.
I'm gonna print that out and I'm gonna put it up on the refrigerator. That's
Yeah.
what I'm gonna do.
I'm
That's
proud
it's
of
gonna go
you.
right next to the oddly shaped horse. At least we think is a horse.
I'm
Looks like
proud
a
of
green
you, Dirk.
cat.
Dirk
It's
Wolven.
official concept
proud
art.
of
That's
you.
what that is.
It's official. What we're seeing the internal workings of CIG. This is
Mad
the
paint
first
skills.
form of
Proud
concept
of
art that CIG does.
I'm giving him a thumbs up.
Jay Lee on the piss.
Boom. Thumbs up. And an ad
This
vote.
is Jay Lee taking the piss out of CIG. This is his
Oh,
alternate
boy.
account.
Shh. Stop it. This guy
Do you know-
spent
do you know
ages
that
on
when you said-
this.
When you,
He's going to be
It's
so.
like Jay Lee's at work drawing out the hammerhead. He's like, I'm going to post this on Spectrum and nobody's going to be the wiser. I'm going to get away with it. He's probably laughing to himself.
I'm just going to say
it's
though.
like when you,
I don't want.
He's probably-
I attack this side because this turret's clearly weaker on this side. It's much bigger turrets on these sides. There's a weak spot on this side. Yeah.
it's a little anemic. It needs
Size 2
it needs to
turrets
go
on
to
this
the gym.
side.
It's recovering from a car crash, so it's a little weak on that side. It needs to go to physical therapy so it can. You just madness. You're just making fun of the unequally able.
I'm just saying he could have, he should have. It's done it. He should have just, get a little circle and trace it. No, it's respect.
Should have just drawn half of it.
Just
Should
drawn
have
half
just
it.
drawn half the thing with like really
mirrored
wet
it.
ink and just fold the paper in half and just.
Oh, he's done well.
Just fold the paper in half and made the imprint of one half of the image on the other half of the paper.
I love
would have
it.
made it
Turpin.
symmetrical.
You got my vote. You got my vote. You got my vote. Okay, next thing. Next beautiful thing. Next beautiful thing. Skins. We're moving past because I don't want to pull this guy. He's worked hard. I want to see his next piece of
He's
artwork.
worked hard.
I want to see his Banu
I swear
Merchantman
to God,
one. Hang on. I want to see his
Let's
Banu
keep going.
Merchantman one. He needs some positive energy, this guy. We've got these fools. Who do we invite these? Right, we've got
the guy that you was on about at CIG when he was
it
playing
could be- it
Paul
could
in the
have been
background,
Jay Lee.
and Chris Roberts sprang up and said,
Jay Lee
"What have you been doing?"
sequestered himself in the toilet. But Jay Lee sequestered himself in the toilet drawing it. He's like, this is going to be great. He's just sitting there on the toilet just drawing it. Trying to take the piss out of it.
Oh, bless. No, I think, like I said, like he's done it because he's thinking of like the fact that they've announced. Obviously, it's now got 2 levels, right? So he's obviously
It's
kind
his
of.
fault that your-
That's his
it's fault
interpretation.
that your train's delayed.
Which is pretty cool. You guys, but yes, it is. It's like I said, I honestly admire the fact that people like are just that kind of committed and want to kind of just it's just cool, man. Honestly, it is cool. It doesn't matter the level of artwork, and ignore these 2 bumpkins. Well done. They don't know shit. They don't know shit. Honestly, look, HC spends half his time walking around like a crab on stream when he's doing his game or whatever. It's
Yeah,
like,
I
don't
know.
worry.
Like
He doesn't know what
should
he's
be
doing.
very serious here.
No, I wasn't taking the piss out of the level of art skills. It was just more the case.
I was.
You
that
back,
someone
Mrs. Backtrack.
literally sat there like, no.
So this is someone's done a little bit of artwork. I mean, it's not particularly revolutionary and stuff, but again, I always like to see people's interpretations. I actually, my favorite, I'm torn. I like the kind of the black camo one, and I actually quite like again the black with the yellow kind of the yellow stripies. Although this is kind of cool with the circles
I kind
coming
of
around.
like
It's kinda dope.
the tartan one. I kind of like the one that's a tartan. The
This-
upper
this-
left.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah,
yeah,
it
this-
kind of looks like it kind of.
It looks like you could throw up on that one and it wouldn't be an issue. Do you know what I mean? That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, exactly. Would actually make it look better.
It just that's if anyone knows about tubes, that's the reason why they have a particular pattern on the tube on the upholstery. So you can throw up on it and it doesn't
You
really
throw up
matter.
on it, doesn't ruin it.
It looks fine. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I mean, again, I think it's pretty cool. Now, this is right. This is a conversation piece. Okay. So this is This person obviously has edited their thing, and this is to do with finances. I know everyone here loves to talk about finances. I love to talk about finances with Sayaji. I know people here don't necessarily do.
The sexiest topic in Star Citizen.
This is they've done a good job with this one. Very good job. Okay, so run the numbers and the facts. And what this does is this gets me thinking about something that I have said on my stream the other day, and I have been thinking about, and I have been doing research on, and I'm hopefully, if I get some time, put a YouTube video up. But this is interesting. So they say, so my last thread was accused, blah, blah, blah. So according to the website, 194 million has been raised so far. According to the website, the project has raised between 15 million and 20 million so far this year. According to the recent developer interviews of 2 months ago, Star Citizen broke 500 employees. Based on the amount of the positions and they have, and I'm assuming they're not paying competitive wages, therefore low ball, let's assume they pay each wage around about $30,000 a year. Okay, it's a fair assessment. If you do the numbers, it works out between 15 million, and that's just employee wages. Okay, so this isn't accurate for the rent and the travel and everything else. So let's just say the estimated projected cost to run the business, everything else, is about $25 million a year. At that rate, can they sustain a 10-year development cycle? And it's interesting because that means obviously they make around about 30 to 35 million a year. So they're making more than what they're potentially spending. So they have a little bit of bankroll maybe every year. But if they continue to hire employees with Telltale Games going under, I'm sure they'll look to hire a few people there, I'm sure. The employee will swell again a little bit more. I think the well that is the Star Citizen pot of money is shrinking. And I firmly think that CIG has investors. I think that they will potentially, when Squadron 42 goes live, either next year or the year after, that they could potentially float the business, or they will get investors into the business. Because obviously we will see a game, and if it's a successful game, and it looks game, they'll bring money in from Squadron 42, which I think will pay for more of Squadron 42, won't necessarily pay for more of the MMO, and I think they need substantially more money to keep the MMO part of the game going. They have technology they can sell and share. So I think they will
there's a big
potentially
flaw with that, Matt.
flow it. Which one?
The biggest flaw is they don't pay their staff. They give them ships. ask Christian. He hasn't got paid a single thing. He just gets paid.
He's just got a little tram on his desk. He doesn't even have a tram on his desk. It's a virtual tram. That's it. Got his name on it.
Yeah, I mean, realistically though, like in seriousness, it's just a lot of bollocks. It's
like
here's
the other thing too.
I mean, look, you can be accurate, but there is a certain amount. There is a chunk of, at the end of the day, 500 employees have to be paid money, and if you do round that number up to a certain amount, and it's whatever you want to do, that is a certain amount of money that they have to pay every year to employ these people. There's no question. Otherwise, why the hell do they keep selling concept ships? They have to keep the lights on. They have to pay people. People need money. People need it. That's just the facts. The thing is like, whether you believe they'll run out of money or not, I don't think they will. But what I'm saying is I do think that CIG needs a lot more money for a lot longer, and I think what can they do to make that money?
We don't have. We know they have tax breaks deals. I know there's business tax breaks in Germany and in the UK. If you start up a business in Germany or UK, there are tax breaks you can take advantage of, which do pay a pretty good deal. In fact, there's a German filmmaker that made a lot of money off German tax breaks. Uwe Boll. He would make garbage movies for almost nothing, but he would make most of his money off the tax breaks on the movies. That was his deal. So there are options of doing tax breaks by starting businesses in other areas. You wonder why we have one in Manchester, why we have one in Frankfurt. Starting up studios over there instead of just having all based in the United States and building Star Citizen up, probably because we get tax breaks over there. So maybe we save several dozens of millions of dollars by starting studios up over there, because they pay, the government pays for the wages essentially over a certain number of years.
Yeah,
Stuff like that.
I mean, a lot of people, like someone said in chat, is like, oh, well, when Squadron 42, when Star Citizen released, they won't need the staff anymore. I think that CIG, Chris has got ambitions of CIG Cloud Imperial Games to be Cloud Imperial Games, not Cloud Imperial Games Star Citizen, to be Cloud Imperium Games, to do more than just Star Citizen, to be doing other things.
I think.
So you're going to keep the staff.
You're absolutely right. I think you're absolutely right. Chris Roberts is an ambitious man, and there's nothing wrong with ambition. Okay, some people. I see this from time to time, where people like to shit on Chris Roberts because he's got ambitions, because he wants to build something big. Well, he's not humble enough, or he's not, he wants to lead the way and be in the front. He needs to get in the back, and he needs to take his name off the product. But Chris Roberts wants to be the next Blizzard. He wants to relive the days of Origin, when Origin was this giant powerhouse of a company, and they made these great games, and it was a name worth remembering. He wants to be Blizzard. He wants to have a good run of video games. Wing Commander 1, 2, 3, 4. He wants to do those days again.
The king of PC games. Cloud Imperium Games could be the king of PC game production. There could be like King Ding-a-ling,
could be BioWare, could be
like Valve style, you know what I mean? Like the Blizzard, Valve, whatever you want to call it. It's legitimately they are doing things that no one else. Not anyone else has done, but they're doing it on a scale and an ambition scale. And like I said, that's why I talk about RTX. That's why I talk about ray tracing. Why I talk about adopting things and moving things and early adopting stuff. You know, I honestly, I think people need to recognize that there's a definite distinct possibility in my mind that CIG could move to a public company. It could still play private, but there is definitely investors in CIG. There are 100% investors that have put big money into Star Citizen behind the scenes that people maybe don't think exists, and it's just backer money. There are investor backer money as well. I firmly believe. Well, at some point,
if you look at the development of Star Citizen, there's actually there's a few ancillary things, a couple supporting issues that have nothing to do with the development of video games. Why is Spectrum being developed with backers' money? Because Chris Roberts wants that technology to use in a future product. Why is the web store so well developed? Why is the web page so well developed? Why is what is it? I always want to call it Ilphonic, but it's the people who do Spectrum. Turbulent. Turbulent's on board and been on board for a long time. They want to use the technology developed by Turbulent in future projects. They're developing this stuff because they expect to be around for a while, to sell even more products, to maybe open up maybe a free-to-play game maybe they're going to take Star Marine and turn it into its own product. Maybe they're going to take Arena Commander and turn it into its own product. Maybe they're going to develop something else for someone else. Have a publisher come in and say, hey, we got expertise. Our developers have expertise in Lumberyard and large development. Do we want to have us work on your MMO? We have the in-house specializations to do that. And we have the technology. We have the people. We can do it. Just pay us $200 million and we'll make you a video game. That kind of stuff.
Okay. Miz, what do you think? You've been quiet. What do you think? What do you think? Public. I'm saying to go public to make money to keep funding the game going forward for a long period of time, to make to keep building CIG as a big company.
I don't know about going public or any of that, but I agree that it's Star Citizen is probably not going to be the end of it. Squadron 42 is not going to be the end of it. It's building a company from the ground up. Basically, has been expanding. It's the same way as they've been outsourced with lots of people, and they've been let down from that, and then they brought them in under the same umbrella. I mean, like we said, they're talking about like 500 odd staff now. So I agree. I think with his ambitions, he would probably want to be like a sort of version of Blizzard, and so he can always say, up yours to the publishers and show people how it's done. As for making money to keep it going, there's always loads of different ways they can do that. I mean, the fact that every time a pixel ship comes out in concept, they make millions. It's not been difficult for them at all, and it's not showing any signs of slowing, really.
The right kind of pixels. They have to sell the right kinds. Remember the Starliner, the Genesis Starliner wasn't exactly a very good seller.
And they're having to sell it always now more and more, the big ones, to more and more to the whales, and the whales are like, this is what I mean.
I disagree with that. I mean, they're doing more big ones, but when like the Dragonfly came in, or even the Cyclones were extremely popular, it's just that the little ones don't make them. Well, I don't know. I still believe in most games, if you actually know that it's like you sell lots of cheap stuff, you end up making more money by selling lots of cheap stuff than one big ship. Because there's a lot of people now, apart from the few WoWs, that they haven't got money to invest to go and buy the Hammerhead or another £800 or £600 ship. It's a lot of people, and obviously because of the way we are at the moment, I think with patches and things, there's a lot of people that won't put any new money in. It's being said a lot. Like, I know people are buying new stuff, but there's also a lot of people that aren't putting new money in. So it's easier to buy something that's smaller and cheaper. And like you said, you were almost persuaded into even though you said you're not spending another penny, you're almost persuaded to buy the Mercury.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just,
until I read the stats and it was garbage. I was like, no, never doing it.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. They're not really, and there's like we've already said on this podcast time and time again, they can do skins, they can do sell outfits and armor, and like there's plenty of MMOs out there that are making money from loot boxes and things like that. Which
for sure.
Look at Fortnite at the end of the day. The amount of people playing it, the amount of money they make, and they're just selling skins. So
they have a good game. They have a good, well, questionable good game, but they have a fun game.
Really,
No, they can definitely, and that's what that's definitely the option. Moving from macro to micro transactions is definitely another means of making money. They've already shown it in terms of. I think that I think they're dripping it with the subscription model. I think it's actually it's like a drug addict to get people hooked to the microtransactions, and then they'll probably start to take them away again and actually charge you for them.
All I hope is they don't go down the route of, say, Elder Scrolls, where you can only buy it with real money. You can't get it in game. As long as they do it where you can go and earn it in game,
always
or
get
you
it in
can go
game,
buy real money. That's fine. But that's the only thing I won't want.
I think the only thing that they would do I would say, sorry, HC, the only time I think that would be acceptable to have something that you can only get with money not in game would be for the events such as Citizencon. If they want to fund a bigger event and they want the money and they want to give us exclusive stuff, I would be comfortable with them doing exclusive gear only for external, like funding Citizencon. I would be comfortable with that because then I need a motivation for it. I need a reason for limited gear. I'd be cool with that.
I don't care about exclusive skins. If the skin has no gameplay implications, it has no effect on gameplay, I don't care.
Yeah.
If it has effect on gameplay, then I start caring.
I do though, because like Elder Scrolls Online is a good example because they practically stopped making any like decent looking armor. It's all basically through loot box, not random loot boxes. You buy it on the store, and it's like if you're someone that wants to care, like what your ship looks like or whatever. Like if you said you couldn't change the skin of your ship unless you bought it with real money, like I wouldn't be happy with that.
Yeah, but I think the loot boxes.
Personally, depends on what people are after, but
I think loot boxes is just. It's got such a. The problem is the word loot boxes is terrible. I think you were just talking about microtransactions. There's a difference between
loot boxes and buying stuff. That's not. Yeah, I didn't mean loot boxes.
You were not meaning
loot
boxes.
Stuff. I meant more like just selling
skins.
Armor.
I would be comfortable meeting people halfway and saying if we just had special skins for commemorative events like Citizencon or Gamescon or holidays, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I think. I mean, other games I've played do things like that.
Game.
Yeah, I do like Halloween stuff. I mean, I'm like I say, I think that would be the smart thing, pretty logical. But again, common sense and CRG don't tend to be together at the same time very often, unfortunately. Okay, that was it. That was it. I just wanted to like I said, I firmly believe. I think that they need investors, and I think it'll be floated. You guys think that they don't, and they can make it still through microtransactions. And there are other ways to make money still to keep that going. Well, that's the good thing is this is one of those bragging right moments. I'll be able to say no when Squadron 42 goes and they float it, and you'll be able to go no, you're wrong, Madness, when they're selling loot boxes or not loot boxes, selling whatever skins and making all the money they need from that. Cool. Okay. The next thing, which is going to be interesting and probably up miserable street because he loves this, and we've been talking about merchandising and stuff, but there was a 3D printed cutlass on Reddit today for the first time. The problem I always have with 3D printing stuff is it's always a little bit ropey. You can tend to see the thread lines and stuff, this the case with this one. But again, this is where we talked about this before, and I just keeping the pressure on to CRG because I firmly believe this is just again shows the demand. Like if people are doing it themselves, there is a demand for it, and they really, really desperately need to do it. And it's actually a fairly decent model. It's not too bad. It's like I was like, oh, cool, that looks pretty dope. That's pretty cool. I was like, I would pay, anywhere between. I don't know how much would you pay for that. It looks pretty good size, probably about £50. Maybe I would probably pay for something like that. Maybe more. If it was painted, it looked beautiful. I mean, you can see the markings here don't look great, but I think that's where it's
the printing markings.
Yeah.
If you can clean those up a little bit, make it smoother. I mean, honestly, a resin model would be much better. You get much smoother and more detail out of it.
It's so cool. I want it on my desk. I want a freaking cool model. I just
Good
want
size.
a model.
Did you say how big it is?
I don't know if he says how big. Maybe it was on the actual the Reddit post. I've just taken the picture
You want a
post.
cool model on your desk, Madness? Look at this.
I do. Yeah, look at that one. That's awesome, dude.
Doesn't look like
This
that
was-
anymore now, though, does it?
Last season.
No.
That's the problem. That's the reason why CIG.
That's
You've actually justified the reason why CIG won't produce models is because of that reason. The fact that they keep changing.
Well, that's a collector's
ships.
item now. That was actually given
I
to
know.
me by Feared, an organization that comes by my channel every so often.
The
They
Legacy
printed that out
Mustang.
and, for me as a
I
gift.
like that. That's the whole. If you're a collector of models, exclusivity, old things that aren't done anymore, things that have a history and things like that are actually end up becoming really cool. Like Harry Potter, for example, was released with, I think it was with Penguin originally, because it's the only person that would take the book, and then obviously 3 or 4 books later or whatever it was, or 5 books later, it got massive, and that small little company couldn't produce enough books, so she had to then move to a different one. But if you have an original book with like whatever it was, I don't know if it's Penguin, it could be somebody else, which was actually with her, it's worth like fucking thousands. You know what I mean? That type of stuff is dope, and CIG should embrace it. And so what if the models change? Big deal. That means that people have to buy another model.
Well, they've
Wow.
already talked about that with
Big deal.
Wasn't that one of the so-called sort of features with like the say like the Hornet model? This will be so many years Hornet model, and then later on in the game it'll be it'll replace the Hornet, but you'll have people flying around what will be like classic cars.
Yeah.
And that was kind of their plan, wasn't it? So you have like classic ships.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, you can have you can have the 3D printed models for the old Cutlass and the very first Cutlass, and then the old Constellation series, and the I got the old Mustang, the first iteration of the Mustang sitting on my desk over here. So that would be cool. People would love to collect stuff like that. Before ships get updated. Ship the new ship.
I have sorry, just answering, and yes, I have seen Rice Maiden's 3D models. In fact, I have actually held Rice Maiden's 3D model in my hand.
How long for?
I've met him at a bar, in fact, and I got to held his Carrack, a 1/64th scale Carrack, and he had a 1/12th or 1/16th scale Dragonfly to go sit right next to it. Nice. And it was like he told me the reason why the Carrack was or was it 1/64th? I can't remember. It was a pretty scaled down version of the Carrack, because he said if he did it the same scale as the Dragonfly, it would have been bigger than the table that we were sitting at. It was pretty cool, his stuff.
I mean, if you actually look at people do the 3D models in like the software, and they do the whole look at your fleet size, you can see there by the scale on things are just totally crazy.
Oh yeah,
so cool. Anyway, so yeah, I just I think there was that one, and then this was the other thing that was at Con. I'll just quickly ping it across here. We have the fan made gun. So this is the Gemini gun. Again, like, so cool.
Fan made.
A fan made. I mean, done a great job there. I'll just pause it. They've done a great job. Where can I pause it? I can't pause it because
That
it's
is
a GIF.
the R97, the Gemini R97 ballistic shotgun.
And the one underneath it as well is a different gun. I know, it's because it's on a GIF, and whoever's done it a GIF is making me nauseous. But I'm trying to see what the other one is. But anyway, we'll go away from it. It's like, whoa. I was like, why couldn't it just be a still picture?
I don't think I can recognize the bottom one, the one below it.
Is it me or both times when I said gun? The end gun. Yeah. It's a gun.
It's a gun.
Gun. Gun. I get excited, okay? It's so cool. It's 3D. It's modeling. This is what I want. I don't want a game. I just want the goods. And then we have. Did everyone see the German? Did everyone go to the event? This has been it's been translated. The development panel summary. Did everyone watch it? Con 42. Did everyone see it? I was watching it live.
I did watch some of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Missed a lot of it as well, but it looked. So talking on the Con 42, it looked really good. It looked like it was. So I think it's obviously it's similar to like Citizencon, and I think there's Paris Con, the Paris Con is doing one as well. But yeah, they look like they've done really well. This their second year, I think. on doing it?
I don't know because it was in German, unfortunately. But I
No.
don't know how if there's anyone here that goes or is German or knows the event or whatever. It looked like it was a great event.
Yeah, that's no.
Let us know, please do. They're probably mortally offended by my earlier comments about German people, sun tanning and taking benches. They left all at the beginning of the podcast.
But no,
But-
it looked like a really nicely organised event.
Third, okay.
A really good turnout, and
Yeah, it did,
yeah, really nicely presented in that. Really good.
Hey, so are you deliberately trolling me again with your position? Are you standing now? I'm going to strangle him. He's like literally.
Yes.
He's like he's chased this. I'm gonna kill him. No, I'm not joking. We will dogfight this.
Every time I do this,
We will dogfight
we will
later.
dogfight.
I can't wait for being
I
able
fixed
to
it
do that
for you.
stuff. Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Thank you. So we're talking about Con 42. Did you watch it, HC, at all? Did you watch any of the?
No, I
stuff?
didn't. Unfortunately,
That's
I
all
didn't
right.
get a chance to watch it.
I was chatting away, as I always do. Like I said previously last week, I was saying how it's good to actually watch foreign streams if you can. Google Translate's not great, but it does help a little bit, and I can kind of generally get the gist of what people are saying to a degree. I obviously can't understand what people are verbally talking, but in terms of text, I can kind of keep up. And they're very good because they speak really good English, these German people generally. So they help me out, and they're very understanding, which is fantastic. And so it was a really good show, really enjoyed it, and there were some really good questions. CID dodged a few of the hard questions, as you would imagine. So one person asked is, will the vending machines ever actually work? It is in the works, yes. They said. They have animations for it in general. If they have animations for it, they will do it. So good news, vending machines will work.
In the document of some of them ones, but...
Yeah, it's cool. I'm reading some of the docs and some of the stuff. So I've got some of them things.
I just had to put it in there.
And then we have someone said to me, "Why is the hammerhead still in 3.3 when so many tasks aren't finished yet?" This was a good question because this is a question a lot of people ask.
People working on it
because people didn't work on the spaceships.
That's such an old question that's really shouldn't need to be asked.
It is a question, but people but you always remember there are new people to the game, and new people always seem to come after about 6 months. They come to that same question. That's the brilliant bit. There's always the old heads are like, "Oh, we've had this question 20 times," but new people to the game they get to the same place later than everyone else, and so it's like they asked that question, and the answer was they couldn't answer them because they needed a ship person there to answer it. So there you go. They are waiting on downstream, supposedly, according to Brian. How will the finance system work for the organization in the end? Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it was that was quite interesting because obviously it depends on how they want to handle it, how they handle orgs. But like, so in some other MMOs, you can have like a guild bank or an org bank, so a certain amount of money goes into that. It looks obviously like some of these questions are there. We can see on the roadmap where we are on certain things, so they're quite far down the line. But it did say that they have plans for like being able to share out the funds from the bank, so you can put it all into one bank account. Or I hope they do something there where you can kind of maybe tax your org, just like a tiny bit of what they earn, so that it goes to an org pot. So then you can use that to dish out to org members for whatever you want to do. You know, making. Supporting people if they want to start like a mining adventure or whatever like that would be quite cool.
One of the what I thought was an interesting question is they were asked like, what's the biggest strengths and weaknesses of the Lumberyard engine? They said the biggest strength is its graphics capabilities, and then they just basically said not enough tools, which is really interesting. And they need obviously engineers to develop the tools for the designers to be able to build stuff, which is
that's quite interesting because this is kind of what they've been talking about for a long time, like with the whole like the planet terrain and everything else. Like they're building the tools so that they can then go and give it to the designers who can just then go and paint on the surface of a planet, and it will do the vegetation and all that sort of thing. So I think that's what they mean by the tools of that.
The biome system, we've seen that mentioned a couple times before in ATV, where they just have splotches of biomes, and then they kind of blend everything together automatically, and then you can just have the designer look at the planet from a god's eye view, I guess, and just kind of say, we're going to have a biome here, 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 and here. and then we'll render the planet, and we'll go down, we'll see how the biome looks, and then we'll make any adjustments to the math, and then we'll regenerate the planet. And if it looks a little bit better from space, and then we'll go and we'll start doing the handcrafted stuff, mountains and outposts and stuff like that. And we'll kind of see how it looks in different light, and then make changes based on the sunset, sunrise, and day, and the nighttime.
The other
see
thing
how
that
cool
was
it looks from there.
the other thing that was interesting is they were talking, I don't know who was talking about this in particular, but they said every engine is just a foundation that you must always build upon it and make specific changes to it. They went to Lumberyard because the internal development team of Lumberyard is very passionate, that's probably normal about most companies, about pushing the engine as far as possible. The features they are pushing are not only the typical engine features, but also the integration with back-end services and social media, like streaming, which is amazing. So that was really interesting because obviously they're wanting to pull everything internally, but then they highlighted that this technology is really good for streaming, and they obviously have a social element, and they obviously consider that to be important, which again, like I said, it's so strange when they say
Amazon,
things like that.
Amazon owns Twitch. Why
Yeah, I know.
would
Well,
Amazon want Lumberyard to line up?
Kind of going back to a little bit to what you were saying with Chris Roberts and his ambition and stuff. It's kind of like the whole development of Spectrum is I think in his head at least he has it where he wants everything all under one roof. It's like you'll have your own Discord, you'll have your own, stream. You wouldn't stream to Twitch, you literally stream to StarCitizen.
I know,
and things
right?
like that's what it feels like. That's what he wants. He wants the whole world in one little StarCitizen package.
Yeah,
Which is ambitious. His goals are ambitious.
I think, but you could also say it's ambitious, but you could also say it's manical. What's the word for it? Megalomaniac, social megalomaniac, kind of like you could argue
Twitch that does streaming. Why do you need to take that on, sort of thing?
That's hubris beyond belief. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of the way some people might look at it. It's great to have ambition, but sometimes they could be a sense of serious hubris.
I don't think he's going to try to compete with Twitch or YouTube streaming. That would be I think that would be silly at this point in time. I think he did take in Lumberyard.
The digital pass says it all. The digital pass said it all. The Blizzard, the idea that wanting to bring everything onto their webpage and put everything behind a paywall,
like Blizzard does.
That would be.
Yeah, but he said it. He has said it before when they was on about developing Spectrum that he wanted it so that you would go to their webpage to look at for streamers and things like that. Whether that stays as a thing is a different thing, but that was actually said.
I mean,
control the content.
You can already do that. You can actually register your stream on the StarCitizen webpage, and there's a community section where you can find StarCitizen streamers when they're streaming StarCitizen. So I'm assuming that's what he wants. He wants to be able to have streamers hooked up into Spectrum from various platforms and use that social media aspect. I don't think he's going to try to compete with Twitch directly because Twitch is owned by Amazon and they have a deal with Lumberyard. So I don't think that's a good idea.
Digital says something. He just says, the idea of it obviously being. I agree with what you're saying. I'm not saying that that's not the reasons for it as well. I'm saying, like when they talk about implementing stuff into a game, there's the pros and the cons for things. There's two sides to everything. There's one side that it can be used in one way, but then there's also another way something can be used. And this is all I'm saying is I'm not disagreeing that that's probably the initial intention for this type of social stuff and things like that. It's in game and stuff, but it also has other implications as well. Do you know what I mean? There are other potential things that it could be. There's lots of laws that go in, slide in out of nowhere, left field, and everyone says, yeah, this is a great thing for us, it's fantastic. But the thing that they didn't consider was that this actually has an impact elsewhere and does other things. It's like, oh shit, we didn't think about that. Okay. And that's what it could be based on. And again, I'm going on based on behavior. This is what I'm saying is a lot of people say, oh, but that's not the. I'm trying to just, the man who's ultimately making the decisions, the man that's ultimately making choices, is his behavior traits. A bit more harder to specify, but you can look at past histories to see how that could maybe impact stuff. That's all it is. This is why it's a podcast. It's a show. We talk about stuff. It's like theory crafting for Chris Roberts, effectively, would be the way to describe it. And how it could affect the things for the future. There will be different prices between fuels. Yay, we knew that. That's kind of obvious. How are you going to handle large bodies of water? And will, for example, ships displace water? They are looking into this again.
Question, but I think it's still it's far too early to say that, and that's kind of what the answer is. It's like when you're developing that. So, yeah.
Someone says to me, in the past we have seen VoIP functions in the next 30 days we'll know more? I'm like, because it's coming with probably 3.3 VoIPs coming.
It was more,
and,
I think
and
they asked not the
Citizencon.
VoIP functions, it was the VoIP camera.
Oh, they said, have you seen, in the past we have seen the VoIP function and you've introduced the Faceware technology as the company behind the technology. Is there any news on the camera? Sorry, yeah, my bad, I missed that.
Yeah.
There is stuff about it. I've got a picture, I had something on the VoIP thing.
Well, I think Brian said you'll hear something in the next few days, or
there's like a
very
special
soon
camera
or something like that. Where did I put it? We will hear about it shortly, he said. Which is basically we're probably gonna hear about it in Citizencon, and it wouldn't surprise me if the cameras go on sale at Citizencon.
Here's the thing, right?
Probably developed it enough to do that.
Somebody was asking me someone made a comment about the cameras. There was a question about the cameras, about the price of the cameras, and what will you be able to use a normal webcam? They've said that you will be able to use a normal webcam, but also what's the point in buying obviously the VoIP specific webcam? And so I'm saying it's to do with better light and better FPS, I believe, or something.
low light.
Low light.
To note here,
Works well in
985.
low light.
Yeah. Dedicated VoIP cam will be 60 frames per second, narrow field of view to capture face better, and low light sensors so you can play in the dark.
I mean, the other thing is as well, like what people, I mean, it's all right asking that question, but also what you have to understand is this might be people that buy it who doesn't have a webcam. This is because they want everybody in the game to be using this. So it's not just all of us that already got a webcam. This is selling an RSI branded webcam that you can get if you don't have one.
It's interesting. We've opened a can of worms.
Specifically, if they've worked on that camera
Yeah.
with the technology, then it's going to potentially work better.
Good stuff. I mean, during the conversation, guys, I'm going to go back over some of the comments you've made. It's going to feed from more conversations later. I like it when we touch on things and I can see you guys lighting up between people. That's great. I really enjoy seeing people kind of light up in conversation. It's one of the reasons why we do the podcast. It's going to fuel further conversations. So good stuff. Thanks, guys. There's a few other things in there. Is there anything else you want to talk about in there, Miz? There was a highlight for you.
One of the questions which I was surprised. They said they asked what about the StarCitizen joystick?
Yes.
Because we all know that went through with, was it Mad Cats who went under and then blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I thought they'd kind of just forgot about it. Not forgot about it, but just decided to quit and leave it. But it was interesting because I think Brian basically said that they're still kind of putting feelers out there and looking for a company that would suit their needs. So it suggests that they are still looking at doing a joystick. It's just they're not in the right position to do it yet. So I think we can still expect a StarCitizen joystick.
I don't understand. It's like there is probably a company called Thrustmaster who are quite a well-known. Like I've never understood why they don't seem to go to the well-known kind of people.
Yeah,
is there a bad relationship there?
It could be down to costs. It could be down to Thrustmaster not wanting to do it. Because it's like putting. I
don't see why they'd want to.
If it doesn't succeed, you might not want to at the moment. They might want to see how well the game does first, or how when it's more.
But then
produced.
Here's my thing. Like, they give Twerk some pedals the other day, and they ask him whatever he wants. So they give other people they give gear off to StarCitizen content creators who are showing off their things. So why not give it to the game company that's making the game?
It's one thing giving someone a joystick. It's another thing spending time research and development into making a product for someone. They didn't make that product for Twerk. They didn't make it for him. He didn't go ask his specifications. They just gave him to use. You're talking about a specifically made.
I thought it was Sidekick as well.
For StarCitizen.
Yeah. Why not? Well, Virpil's a small company, so I know why they probably wouldn't go to Virpil, because we don't know. Virpil's still a very small company. If you were to suddenly give them, if you gave them they're struggling to meet orders as it is. They've had to upgrade their. They didn't expect to do so well. They had for one period of time. There was quite long delays waiting for stuff from Virpil because they do great great product, and people are obviously singing high praises, so the demand has gone up. Hard to meet it. If CIG suddenly rolled in and said, and then it was like a huge order, they would have problems and they'd have to go up again another scale, and it puts companies at great risk if things didn't happen or they borrowed money or things go wrong. They could go bankrupt very quick. I could see why they wouldn't go to Virpil, if I'm honest. And I can understand why Virpil maybe would say, if I was Virpil, I would probably say no as well, just to grow my business a bit more organically and stay safe. But Virpil would be my favorite choice, of course, but I don't think they've got the resources to do it. But that's why I think Thrustmaster is the biggest one. It just feels like, why not? I don't get it. I just don't get that one. Sorry, Miz, I just don't get why. There must be a royalty issue.
They might not want to do it. Like as Dirk C says, they don't even necessarily have a finalized control system yet. So
that's true. They
no
keep
point just
adjusting
going
the
and saying, "Oh, develop me this," and then change it, unless they go with making the full keyboard and things like they were doing.
Fair
and
enough.
on top of that, it costs, as Nadia says, it costs. And I said it costs for research and development. It costs for them to make a product. And if StarCitizen fails, what are you going to do with all that time and money you've spent doing research and development and designing something with a specific brand, and then no one to sell it to?
Yep, definitely.
Definitely. Yeah, they did have a branded joystick Watto. That's what we're talking about. It was they had one, and the company went under.
Yeah.
So that's why they stopped doing it, because
the famous joystick in a box when they presented it, and it had fallen in the box, which was quite funny. It had leaned over inside the box.
I mean, that one that they had on display that you could go and see, that's like collector's edition now. It's probably got nothing inside it, but.
But again, this is like tells the stories. It sits next to the lamp and the blow up doll. You know, it's kind of, these are the kind of the little bits of history of CIG's development, which we'll all be talking about for years to come, I'm sure. I think one of the things I was really excited for was they talked about the alien. Did they talk about the alien biomes briefly? Because they talked about alien creatures, and they mentioned briefly they talked about alien biomes, or maybe I'm getting confused between something else. But there was talk about aliens, because people were asking about biomes, which got me super excited. I was just like, oh my god, aliens and alien biomes. Oh no, it was ATV, I think. They talked about alien worlds created. Oh, I can't remember. I've read it somewhere. It was, I heard the mention of it. I've been doing so many things today, reading up on stuff, and so much information the last couple of weeks. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. No wonder CIG struggles to keep on top of everything. I'm like, God, there's so much information out there. It's like, and how can you keep, like, fake, you talk about fake news, like keeping track of like what's real, what's legit, what's not legit, is just so, I mean, I find it tough. I'm researching, I'm going, is this real? Is this wrong? Is this real?
Art and stuff so good as well. You look at it and look what they just released. Oh no, they haven't. It's fan art.
Exactly, yeah.
It's so easy to get duped. But there is just so much, especially this week, because obviously we've had so much stuff happen. Roadmap 3.3, then we had Con 42. This has been great. It's great. I love it. It's great. There's just loads to talk about. And then they asked about the spider mining droid. No comment.
Yeah, that was interesting. Just said.
Oh my god! I actually still have the animated. I think I have an animated GIF or something of that spider droid coming in, landing, and unfolding.
Nice.
So maybe
years ago.
What do you think?
We've got like drones, haven't we, from ships and stuff? So the drones are going to be able to go out and do stuff. So I reckon that's definitely something that they were going to look at doing.
What do you think?
Well, you gotta get
Citizencon?
walk around properly. You got to animate it. It's got to be pilotable.
When someone says no comment, though, that for me says it's coming soon.
They're working on it.
They're already I think they're going to got it ready.
They're definitely working on it.
I don't know. I think no comment. It's like, because normally they'd say, yeah, we're working on it soon, but to say no comment might be the case of like a little sneaky, like, hey, you might see something very soon on Citizencon, maybe.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I know.
Exciting.
Sean Tracy is a big fan of BattleTech. He's been threatening to put a mech in for the longest time, and I think the Spider Miner is kind of his baby. He wants the Titan suit and the Spider Miner on his babies. He wants them in.
Yeah.
So I know there's people in CIG who want these cool vehicles in the game. It's just so getting them hooked up and rigged properly, animated.
Well, the mechs was something they talked about, weren't they, for a fair while back, and then it all went silent again. on the mech
The what?
front. So the mechs.
Oh, the mechs, yeah.
All the mech suits type thing.
The Titan armor, that's the mech suit.
Well, that's what they and they talked about the exosuits and stuff. They talk about exosuits is not something is a low priority, which is interesting because they obviously did a sprint on it, because if anyone watches the old ATVs, they talked about how with the exosuits they'd obviously built them. They obviously built some sort of rig because they were having issues with trying to get it through the corridors, and they were saying that it was an issue with holding the gun.
That one.
Yeah, and they couldn't get it down.
Yeah, they put ship weapons on the end of the arms, and the ship weapons themselves were like 2 meters long or something.
Yeah.
They're ridiculously long. Even the size 1 guns are stupidly long, and they just didn't look right when you're walking around a corridor. Your guns are sticking out another 2 meters in front of you.
Yeah,
Your gun barrels.
Yeah, I think they probably
You just
tested
hear
it.
someone, as soon as they stop, they go. "Arr!"
Exactly.
I think they tested it, and I think that they probably presented it, and it didn't work, and then they probably
Or
shelved
didn't
it.
look like Chris
We need
Roberts
to go
took
back to
one
the
look at that and
drawing
says,
board.
"Yeah." It tipped over in front of Chris Roberts, and Chris Roberts is like, "Yeah, no, we're not putting."
It's
that
like
in
one
there."
of those annoying soldiers you put on the table and it just keeps doing that. And it's like, dude, it's all right, I got it. And then it tells them, 10 minutes later, it's like, just fucking leave it alone.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah. Like I said, I think I would be more inclined for them to do more of a type of like the alien kind of armor, like the Exo, like, or kind of like in
Aliens.
the District 9 guy, he directed Elysium with the kind of the Exos, that kind of more Exo, but like a kind of just an arm one to just kind of enable you to carry a bigger gun. You know, a really heavy
There
gun,
you go.
you know, that type of a thing. Because we already got it with the heavy armor. They've got the power armor bit that kind of goes around the arm to enable you to pick it up. So that's what
So
I
you want Warhammer 40k with big power fists.
Yeah, definitely. And but I don't want to have to wear all the stupid armor. I just want to have the exo piece, you know, so I can be light armor and just have the big ass gun if I really wanted to. So I can be killed very quickly, but I can do huge damage. That would be sick. Super sick.
Massive, terrible damage. Yeah,
Just like, yeah, I would love that shit.
punch
Like,
right through, dude, like RoboCop.
But I'm thinking more like the Terminator. You know, when the Terminator, when the T-1000 kind of first appears, and he rips off the thing and just
No.
T-600.
Yeah,
first one.
was a T-800 or something.
Oh,
There was a
T-800.
scene in the very first Terminator with Arnold Schwarzenegger where he through the powers of special effects, he looks like he punches right through the guy. So there is a scene in the very.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Was a pretty.
He
dope
comes
scene.
across a couple punks and to steal their clothes, and he picks one up and he punches right through the guy. And he pulls out his fist. His fist is covered in blood.
As you do.
Oh, good movie. Good movie. Ugh, right, that's what I'm watching tonight.
There you go.
Do you know? I remember. Do you know, just briefly, little story. I was underage. Wasn't supposed to watch it. Obviously, clearly wasn't 18. My dad had it on VHS. My dad was away.
Right.
Sneaked downstairs. No, Mum was asleep. She didn't have a clue. Slipped the tape in. I always wanted to watch it because it looked badass with the gun, and I was like, oh, so cool. Slipped it on. Quiet. Turned the volume really low, but I was close to the TV. Watched it. Loved it. This is why I am an advocate for 18 and above movies, because that stayed with me forever. Do you know what I mean? That moment of like watching it quietly. Whereas like, anyway, we could talk about that another time. But that's why I like overaged the movies you're not supposed to watch. It creates extra drama when you watch them when you're not supposed to. Lasts with you for a lifetime. Do you plan? Oh yeah, parachutes. They talked about this as well. So this was interesting. So they get asked this quite a lot. This is a question that they do get asked a lot, and it is something that it does feel like there should be a solution at some point somewhere. They are planned, but they have a low priority. They want to allow us to put anything. They won't allow us to put anything on an exoskeleton suit, but there are trade-offs. So I feel like we should be able to do some. Like I was thinking, like wingsuit, or maybe the seats has a parachute or glider,
jetpack. Because if you eject inside, if you eject in atmosphere, you're gonna die as soon as you hit the ground.
Yeah, it's game
I
over,
mean, the
right?
problem I feel with these sort of questions is we know we're so far away from all this stuff, and it's just it could go any way. I mean, half the things is like we thought about it.
Miz.
but we're not working on it.
But the thing is they switch off this game, and then the first thing they play is PUBG or COD, and then the first thing they're doing is jumping in out of an aeroplane and then getting a parachute and landing. You know, or a glider in Fortnite.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's the problem. Is the fact that other games, their whole game starting mechanic is that of jumping out of something with a parachute, and that's what they're seeing all the time, every single day, every day on Twitch, every day they play. That's all they do. So I can understand why they'd be like, these 3-4 games have all got this ability to jump out of an airplane and land. Why isn't it in Star Citizen yet? Do you know what I mean? I think that's the.
No, yeah, I get that, but I suppose
mind,
it's not just that. It's like the whole thing with the water and everything else. We know. I suppose it's like asking questions that is, I don't know. Maybe there's nothing else to ask, but it's like things that are so far in the front that the answer is probably going to be yes, but they're not really even thinking.
We don't have
about
anything
it
in there yet.
You know, it's like it's on our book of things to do. We've got pages and pages of things that. Ideas that they've had, ideas that other people have had. It's just that you know, it's so far down the line compared to what they're working on.
Yeah, in my mind, Chris Roberts would force you to have like a piece of equipment to parachute strapped to your back, single use. It would work once until you touch the ground, and then you have to get picked up again. But yeah, I think it's so far down the line, it's not even worth discussing at the moment. I've heard jetpack get thrown around a couple times. You know. Yeah. Maybe you can strap a jetpack on and use that to slow your descent.
I'm teeing up.
Star Citizen needs something.
Because we're behind. Well, because there's so much stuff to talk about. But there's a few things from the ATV, and I'm just going to whip through these real quick. And then if there's any questions, like I say, we'll wrap through some questions, and then because we're already at 11:30, so I'm aware that we're getting close to running. We're already probably over a bit, really. So I will go through the first thing which we're going to bring on the video here. So the first thing is the Hammerhead video. I don't know if you guys saw the Hammerhead videos. I imagine you did. So this is the kind of. I was like, cool. You know, it looks good. It looks like a kind of a big ship, big turrets, great video. Like the glass kind of thing looks pretty cool. I don't have one.
Not really doing it for me.
It's not a game mechanic that I feel like I need lots of friends to play this, and it's not I like my solo ship. So sorry, I move this off the screen. People go crazy because there's a mouse button on there. The glass is scratched. Exactly. The glass is scratched. I mean, I know if you've got one, it's probably going to be fantastic, and you're super excited if you've got like a bigger. And I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun when the turrets work.
I suppose,
and it looks great.
Probably feel
Look at that! Wow.
It's like we've got ships with turrets, and the turrets don't work. So maybe when turrets start working, people get maybe a little bit more excited by it. Yeah. I mean, for me, like you said, it's a massive ship which requires massive player-based gameplay, and we don't really have that.
From my understanding, we're not increasing the player count for 3.3 or 3.3.5. Yeah. So it can be 50 for the longest time.
Yeah, like you get having a space battle between a couple of these means that the entire server is no one else in the game. There's those three hammerheads fighting each other is like everybody in the game fighting each other. It feels like, or when the Idris and those guys come in. But I mean, it looks glorious. I mean, again, this is what we're saying. The ships are just getting better and better and better. They just look gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I have to tip my hat every time. Beautiful ships.
And considering, not only does it look good, considering how long from the concept to release of the Hammerhead, they are getting a lot better with the ship pipeline and producing the ships in a reasonable time frame.
Mm. Oh my god, yeah. Can you think of this one? This was really... quick.
This ship is a very good example of what we've been trying to tell people for a long time, is that what they're working on is basic tools and things like that, which means that the process can speed up. Because people are like, why is everything taking so long? Why is this taking so long? This is exactly a good example of that. They basically worked on the basic concept of Aegis designs, and then what that means is they can then do another ship, and they can use loads of assets that have already been created, put them together, make a brand new ship, and it takes a hell of a lot less time to do.
Back in scratch. Yeah. Back in 2014, getting a new ship in the game was a huge undertaking, but now stuff is coming much quicker. and it looks just as good, if not better than the stuff we had
It's
back
going to
then.
happen with moons, with truck stops, with planets. It's all going to be the same thing. It's all software. It's all tools that they're working on so that they can produce stuff quicker.
Plus, they recycled a lot of parts from the other two big capital ships for this, which helps.
That's what I mean.
Well.
That's what I'm saying. By building the
Idris and
assets,
Javelin.
they build an asset library, and then they use that asset library to make the ships.
Yeah. And I thought you were just referring to the tools to how they put the pieces together.
No, it's just
combination, I guess. Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's like building an asset library. It's building the tools to make that ship. So another manufacturer's one that size might be slower if they haven't built the asset library up. So that's why they're working on doing certain ships to build up that library for each of the manufacturers. Which means once that's done, they can go through and knock out the ships a lot quicker.
Which explains why Aegis has got so many ships, because they have their full range, don't they? From massive capital all the way down.
Involved with Squadron 42. So.
The Idris, they were building the Idris first, pretty much. That was the first ship I think they started, the first capital ship they really started on. So the Aegis ships have their design document kind of really filled out. Still waiting for like the Banu to get filled out. Do the Defender coming up this year? Yeah,
that's why the Anvil, when it gets the Carrack, because that's their first capital ship, isn't it? The Carrack.
First larger ship, yeah.
I don't know. It is a capital. They classed it now because it's grown in size to the size of a capital ship. The Carrack is now classed as a capital ship, but I think that would be their first capital ship, which is interesting. And
we also have the RSI. We haven't seen anything on the Polaris, which a lot of people were salty on because that was sold. But the Hammerhead came out quicker.
Again, like we just said,
that's an RSI ship in that.
We just
explained they got the Bengal carrier.
Yeah, the Bengal carrier. Who's that?
That's RSI as well.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that would be so that's interesting. That's going to be interesting to see which capital ship from another other person gets in, because it's currently the Aegis has capital size ships kind of effectively made.
The Idris, the Idris, the Javelin, the Hammerhead, and the next capital size, sarcastic air quotes, capital size ship on the roadmap that we know of is the 890 Jump.
True. So Origin will be getting one in theory before. Interesting. Very interesting. Very cool. Okay. So that looked great. I mean, if you've got one, I'm very much looking forward to walking around one and seeing it and jumping on board, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. That's why I'm looking forward to BTU for that one. Should be good. We have, this is ATV. So this was, again, we're talking about the navigation system, so I'm just going to briefly cover it because it was on ATV. So this I was so excited for. I was so happy when I saw this. Just going to point out, whilst he's here, they were so unsubtle with this. It was unbelievable. I saw this, like, literally. I looked at the guy. First of all, I looked at the tanks. I was like, they're so cool. That's so cool. Then I was like, why has he got Kraken rum on his desk? He shouldn't be drinking on his desk. That's terrible. And then I was like, oh, like my brain within nanoseconds was like, Kraken, StarCitizen, Citizencon. Oh my God, it's all there in front of us. The Kraken.
It's Kraken, confirmed Kraken. Oh, I knew the Kraken was the next capital ship.
It
was the most requested. It was the most requested by the community when they asked him about the Drake ships. It was this meme in the community pocket carrier for this forever.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't get any more. Like literally, I know for a fact that if I went into my office and I had a bottle of Kraken rum sat on my desk, I would be asked to probably remove it, or why have I got alcohol unless I was giving it away to somebody as a present, and even then I wouldn't have it on my desk. So there's clearly staged. So yes, definitely, I'm looking forward to see it. It's a very small little bottle though, which is, I don't think I've ever, unless those tanks are huge.
Adorable. Yeah. Those tanks are huge.
It could be the tanks are huge. Madness. It could be. I'm like, it could be absolutely. Because I've got a bottle of Kraken next door, and it's a pretty substantial. So those monitors, I was like trying to get an idea of scale. Going, those monitors are massive, really huge, and he's a giant. He is huge. So, but anyway, that's the worst kept secret I think CIGs have probably ever had. But yeah, they're talking about it. I'll see if I can whiz on a bit because it talks for ages. But I do love this. This is kind of what I am so excited for, is the ability to be able to like pre-select a destination to jump, and the autopilot in theory would kind of take you, if you got enough fuel, take you to the next destination.
and I was going to chat to you guys, is how do you feel that will affect combat for real people rather than NPCs? Because NPCs can obviously, the program can run an algorithm and knock you straight out of your jump. But how do you find that will affect us if you're a pirate or if you're someone tracking people? How do you think it will? Because they'll want to drive us to some sort of trade lanes for clutch points or whatever you want to call it.
Choke points.
Choke points. Thank you. Sorry, that's the word I was looking for. Choke points.
There you go. I don't know if it's probably not gonna be automated. The system, you're probably gonna have to set a route, align to target, jump, align to target, jump, align to target. You're gonna have to press buttons, maneuver the ship, and then initiate the jump. I don't think it's gonna be automated. I don't think you're gonna jump and then the ship's gonna turn and then jump and then turn and then jump and then turn and then jump. I don't think that's gonna happen.
I hope it does.
I
really do.
I don't think it will.
It may have an autopilot later on in the game. You may have to buy like an autopilot blade for your computer.
To me, I think that's just like a sat nav. So it's like it'll highlight where it is on your radar. So you could, when you jump to the system, you know that you just turn right, follow the green dot, right there it is. Then you jump again. I don't think it'll be automated. I just think it's just like Google Maps basically.
I think if you're into piracy, I think you're going to be wanting to set up around points of interest. I haven't heard anything about interdiction devices being added anytime soon. We know we have interdiction devices on NPC ships.
Yeah.
I've seen them spawn, but I haven't heard anything about player interdiction devices.
I know. I'm kind of like, it's going to be interesting to see how that happens. But I want the automatic jumping. I don't care about other people, but I want to be able to go make myself a cup of tea and come back and know that my ship is potentially already on its way. I don't want to have to be sat at my desk for every single jump. So I know they might want that, but I don't want that.
To be honest, for a certain degree, I don't see why you shouldn't have it. If you put the coordinates into your computer, like as long as you can still be stopped. So you might go away from your computer and
it's a risk.
Someone may come and you'll risk by leaving the computer. Someone can still take you out. Having your ship ultimately aligned to the next jump and jumping by itself. I'm with you on that. I don't see the problem in it.
I kept my NPC take over.
It takes skill for you. What's the difference between you and the joystick just spinning around on the spot to the next spot and going, than it to do it automatically? There's no.
You could say I'm getting out of my seat. NPC person that I've hired, you take over. You fly. You take me to the next location. I'm going to go have a whiz, or I'm going to go and play the pool, or shoot some hoops in the back of my Idris or whatever with my mates. You know, it's like what's the big deal?
That would allow. It would allow more gameplay in the back of your ship. Because that's the problem at the moment. They want you to have these longer journeys so that you can do stuff. But how can you do stuff if it's not automatic? Because
well, the time travel, the time distance between planets and moons and whatnot is going to be fairly short. Like you're going to make that transition in seconds, but the distance between planets to planet could potentially be minutes. System to system, if you want to go from one system to several systems over, you could be looking at several minutes, dozens of minutes. So there could be some automated time there we can get out of your seat. Well, we really don't know. I don't know. Chris Roberts going off what I know about Chris Roberts games, that every time I've plotted a course in Chris Roberts games, I've always had to press a button to initiate autopilot every time. Like in Wing Commander, I think is the nearest corollary I've had. I can set a route, but I still have to hit autopilot every time I come to a waypoint to travel. I have to hit autopilot, go to a jump point, hit the jump point button, autopilot. Unless you want to go like to Freelancer, which I believe had automatic route travel, where you can set a waypoint, hit autopilot, and then your ship would just go there. I believe, if I remember my Freelancer gameplay. So it may go something like that with Freelancer. You set the route, you hit go, and your ship just takes the route you select. That's a potential.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be against it if it did. I think you could have both options, really.
I think giving people both options is the best way to do it. If you can choose to want to do automatic, if you choose to want to be more role play and immersive or whatever you can choose, I think would be the answer. Right, the Hornet F8. For all those rich bastards out there that spent far too much money.
It's lightning.
Oh, was it called the
It's
F8
not like
Lightning?
I'm an Anvil fanboy or anything. It's not like I'm an Anvil fanboy or anything.
F8 Lightning. Sorry. Did I say the Hornet?
Lightning.
My mistake.
Yeah, you said the Hornet.
Hornet, my bad. Sorry. I meant to say the F8 Lightning.
I'm not a big fan of the mutton chops.
No, and if anyone's followed my Twitter will know that I'm not either, and I've actually done an edit to it, so you'll see it in about 5 seconds because I'm going to bring it up on stream. In fact, I did a basic edit, and then Jeff Craig fantastically came swooping into my rescue to do an even better one. So I was very, very happy when he did it. So I'll bring it up on stream here. Give me 2 secs. Da-da-da. So this was the first
with the mutton chops. They're just trying to make it look a bit different.
That's what
because you do it that way. The way without them, it just looks generic.
Okay, so this was my. If you read the tweet that I put out, you'll kind of see it. I think it looks way sexier. It actually looks. I don't think there's I think there's a picture on the. I think there's if I can capture it. Hang on, there's like a side profile view of it. If I can go back, where is it? There's a really cool side profile. Let's see if I can get it. It might be a bit later on. Where you see it's mean looking. The whole back section kind of looks like it's there we go. There it is. It's kind of like its shoulders. You can just make it out in the corner here. It looks, without these stupid bits on the side, this whole back section and the back end of it just looks really menacing. And what I think is if they either simplified these sides, they don't have to be so aggressively massive, but I definitely think they could have made the hood area where the canopy is like the Carrack or like the Terrapin, where armor kind of plates move backwards and forwards to protect the pilot. Would have been so sick, like cool kind of, and then made it all blacked out as well, so it's super black. You don't need to see the pilot. Make it all blacked out and tinted, so you don't see the pilot. And yeah, I just feel it's super busy. And you could just a soup. I've always said this before. Is I really want like a stealthy, all black, sick, super powerful Gladius. That's what I've always wanted, and without the mutton chops, that's what this is. Do you know what I mean? It's super sexy, really powerful. Look at the guns everywhere, huge turret on top. Very cool. And then they put these stupid things on the side of it, so someone's gonna have to come along to my ship every day and shoot them off when I get it.
Shoot them off
because I can't have them on. They're terrible. But yeah, that's just my thoughts. What's chat's thoughts? What's your thoughts?
I quite like them.
Yeah,
I could live without them.
It's just yuckly. I do. It reminds me of like the Star Wars Defiant, Star Trek Defiant.
The problem is everything looks the same otherwise. You need some of these different designs. You need
It doesn't look
stand out slightly.
I don't think it looks the same at all.
How does that look the same?
It does if you take them off. It just looks like any other ship / plane with the cockpit at the front and everything at the back. Like at least like that's right. Like,
that looks like a
hammerhead. It's like you could.
Yeah, but that
that's
looks
kind of like how the Hornet looks. That's how the Hornet looks.
Hornet.
Right,
it looks the same as the Hornet. If you take the other one, if it looks like.
That's kind of the point. It's an edible ship. Looks like the Hornet.
I go. If you take the bits off the side of it, it just looks like a really badass. Looks like a cool spaceship. Like
this looks like another.
If you put that on it just to try and make it look different, it just feels like you're just trying to make it look different to me. That's the way I look at it. It's like, what are they doing? What are they doing?
Make it all look the same.
What are they doing?
It's like, wait, what? There's loads of different cars that all look different.
It's got to go through atmosphere. It's got to go through atmosphere. The only point is we're going to have atmosphere in this. What is that actually doing? What are the mutton chops doing? I don't get it. Like, that looks like a real ship, a real thing that's going to go through air. It's going to fly through atmosphere. No, just don't get it.
If you have a Formula 1 car, they have like the wings on the front so that it helps the slipstream. So that's going to
just keep it. Just to keep it on the ground. Okay, never mind. It's fine. It's a personal choice. At the end of the day, that's fine. It's fine. It's okay. You're allowed to prefer the mutton chops. It's fine. And
you see, the mutton chops were added to increase the mass of the ship so it can punch above its weight.
I guess so.
Yeah,
that's why.
Let the Eurofighter to control. Let's have a look at a Eurofighter then. Let's have a look at a Eurofighter.
Lights on. That's it. They're lights on. That's what they're there for.
Okay, so the Eurofighter has side pieces. There you go. There's your Eurofighter. So to justify the type, there you go. It has little tash, but it's not got the full mutton chops. It's got the little tash.
Those are called canard wings.
Canards. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See if I got a better picture of it.
They're the wingtips that are attached to the front of the fighter, the front of the aircraft.
And there's.
You see, like, okay. We're gonna do it next week. I'm gonna bring back the F8 Lightning with canard bits on the side of it, and we'll see what it looks like.
space wings.
We're gonna. I'm not a fan. I do recognize what Miz is saying. I'm not a complete douche. I do know what you're saying. You want it to look a bit different, and it does make it a bit different. So, but different for the sake of different, I'm not sure about. But hey,
yeah, you have to have the mutton chops on it so the Buccaneer can punch above its weight. You need the heavy fighter to be the heaviest fighter, so the light fighter can punch above its weight.
Eurofighter is a sexy freaking airplane, isn't it? Look at that. Look at the gun. Look at this. Arsenal.
It's just a giant triangle with missiles strapped to it. Okay, there's nothing special about it.
How can you say that is sexy? It's so plain. It's just
beautiful.
It's so boring.
Oh, Biz.
Beautiful.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's so beautiful. Look at it.
It's so plain. I get it.
It's so
plain.
Good job, Dad.
Look at it. Oh. It just looks fast and looks like a gladius.
I'm so fed up with ships just looking like planes. Just look like sci-fi planes. They look exactly the same. It's like,
okay.
We should have ships that are shaped like jellyfish.
At least the hammerhead, that's why it looks like the Shark. It's got a bit of a design. It looks different. I like that. All these freaking planes.
You just want your Winnebago like a square box with like
a square box with engines.
The Mercury, which is circular shaped.
More I'm with you. I'm with you
on
alien ships. I want more alien ships. There's no question. We definitely need more alien ships. It's fine. But I'm commenting
even
on
like the big ships, like the 890 Joe, it just looks like a big boat. Like, come on, use some imagination.
It looks like a slice of white cheese, like a piece of
it does
looks like a wedge of
mozzarella or something, or
wedge of brie.
Oh, sorry, sorry. I just wanted to show you the picture. This is the better one that the guy did. Jeff did. There you go. See it. It's nice.
Maybe they got the guy who did the internals for the Hammerhead earlier in the broadcast to do the concept for the.
I mean, that looks like the same jump.
It's
there you go.
But that
and the Vanguard. And the other one.
But if you look in war, if you look generally at war planes and planes that have generally appeared, like they do, it looks like a fighter to me. It looks like a fighting ship. It looks like it reminds me of the. Looks like the Defiant. It gives me a Defiant vibe about it from Deep Space Nine. I just get excited when I see it. This big ass. I
kind of think they do kind of need to thicken up the cockpit a little bit on this one. Just kind of do something up there. I kind of agree with Miserable on that one. Without the mutton chops from this angle, it feels like they need to do something up there. Something.
Like I said, that's why I was saying about having the armor. Like you have like it would move forward to protect in theory, like the carrot does, and you'd kind of like you could shorten it a little bit, you could kind of fatten it out a little bit, and you could, there's lots of cool fun things they could do to make it more menacing. But anyway, look, hey, I'm not a ship designer. I'm just saying that's what it looks like without the mutton chops. Cool. Right. We don't need to see my Twitter. Let's go to any questions?
Can you show my Twitter next?
Yeah. Sorry, let's we don't need to see
If I actually had time, I would just go and pick all the ships that look the same and just go there.
We'll do that next week. We got next week. We got it planned. We can go through it.
Yeah.
Looks more like the Captain's yacht than the Defiant, and I'm upset you can't see it. Piss Poor Pete. Again, let's have this. All right, no, sorry. We'll next week. Next week, we will bring some spaceships. I will make a thing about it. We'll bring the F8 up.
Right.
Biz can do his comparison.
Ship shape episode.
We'll do the Asylum ship shapes, and we will talk about ship shapes next week. Okay, so stay tuned. Come back next week, and we will do it. You guys bring your ships, bring your thoughts, bring your Defiant, Piss Poor Pete, and we can discuss it next week. I will making a note right now.
I'm gonna bring some crayons and some paper and some scissors.
Yes, it's going to be just like the Spectrum post. It's going to be just like that, like Deathwall's Spectrum post. That level of detail. It's going to be good. It's going to be special. Any questions, Ms.
Oh man,
because I've got shit tons of questions.
If there are no questions, like during this podcast, while everybody's been working, I've been working on my ship design. I'm gonna post it. I
thought doesn't that look like an angel that goes on top of a Christmas tree that my son would do? That's
kind of my Spectrum post tomorrow.
Dumb.
He's just
coming
taking
up the back.
You're taking the
Guys,
piss out of somebody
I'll
who's
just-
taking the piss.
I'll give you my son's star certificate for doing such a great job. There you go. There you go. I'll just write it out now. Well done, Miserable. You have done a great job. Lovely sharing with his design. I'm putting it in the post for you now. It's on its way. Oh my goodness. Gold star for that man.
Star goes up on the fridge.
Do we have questions? Because I have a couple we can churn out. I haven't. This is the question, man.
We have. Sorry, yeah, we have one. Well, we have a couple.
Okay.
So the slightly less anonymous coward seem to be getting a lot of cowards tonight. Will we be getting a buyback token in time for 3.3, or am I going to have to spend money to get around this scramble race paywall? I don't know when the next buyback token is actually.
Usually they put stuff on sale, so they
One per
normally
quarter. So
they
September
put stuff
30th.
on sale. So
There you
you
go.
should be able to buy a.
You should get your
Cycle.
buyback token refreshed once per fiscal quarter. So September 30th would be end of this quarter. So it should refresh then.
And they usually
In
put
my-
chips.
You
and-
should get one probably before 3.3 then, if that's the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
the ships will come up.
then
When's the ship
Anadia
set?
Shark says, when/where can we buy FWIP cam? And will we have non-RSI variant, maybe Drake or a Boa? So this is something that's what we said. So at Con 42, the question was asked, and Brian said we will hear about it shortly.
Yeah.
So I think listen to Citizencon, and I wouldn't be surprised if they go on sale during Citizencon. But if not, we'll probably be going to hear of when they're going to go on sale. I reckon.
Yeah, they'll be
Whether
giving
we
them
have
out.
variants. It
Isn't
would
that
be
be a
nice
prize?
if they were.
Do you think they'll give it to people as a prize, the FOIP? So when you sit down, you get your golden ticket. You'll get a camera.
It's a bit of a letdown
Chris-
compared to the Octane. You get a FWIP
I could
cam.
just imagine Chris Roberts just tossing that stuff into the crowd, and you get a FOIP camera, and you get a FOIP camera, and one of the sharp edges.
He's going to get one of those guns. Is he going to get one of those guns? He's just going to fire them out. Bang!
like a t-shirt cannon.
These people are like running, screaming, bleeding.
T-shirts are soft, madness. When they hit you in the head, it doesn't hurt that much.
People
But-
just
but
crying.
The camera is going to come in a
screaming.
box. The box is going to have edges, and if that catches you in the side of the head, you're going to draw some blood, and there's going to be another lock.
The small children. Think of the
So
protect,
fired,
protect the
man. You're
small
so
children.
fired.
Protect the children. Chris is going crazy with the
just-
FOIP camera.
I can just imagine the headlines: Star Citizen CEO of Star Citizen Chris Roberts massacre at CitizenCon. Read all about it.
Chris, pictures of Chris going crazy, firing out FOIP cameras at people.
There's now
Oh
10
my
less
God.
backers.
And like we can
The
just
kids
take him out of the
run.
box, and then he can hook him up to a wireless stuff. He can fire him at people. That way, you can see the
Do you know
camera
what?
coming at the person.
Do you know what?
There's a
It would be a very dangerous
Don't look
idea,
up.
though.
The look of horror as they hit.
Blood
Live
smattering on this live on screen. Live stream. Just kids crying. Could you imagine? Could you? The thing is oh my god, I can just see it though. This is the visuals. The visuals of this are hilarious. The headlines, but the kids scream. But the problem is, in the UK, it would be okay, but in Texas. It's a very dangerous place to start going shooting things around because most people are probably armed.
Because Texas will return fire.
Yeah, I know. You just see all the people outside the arena hearing the noise and the kids screaming and blood coming
I
out,
added some guns.
charging in to see a British, slightly plump British guy on stage firing out.
Dear diary, today I was hit by a webcam, broke my nose. It was a good day.
I'm sorry, we go mad in the show. Welcome, boys.
I
Right.
think that broke us. I think.
No, we're going mad content. It does help. Right. Question. Thank you, Anita. That was a great one. I enjoyed that one.
I think someone's been watching the show too long. They put their name has been in Twitch chat too long, and it says, "How many Jean salvage ships can I salvage from the Jean salvage ship?"
I wonder if that could be. Oh.
3.
Hello, Shark.
As many salvage ships as the Zon could salvage from a Jean salvage ship, if you could salvage ship Kazan. Oh,
Yes.
fuck me.
Yes.
There you
Okay.
go. There's your answer.
There you go.
And the anonymous coward says, "If you could draw a cock and balls into the dirt on the side of your space van as a grown man, would you?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
I've done when Half-Life, the first Half-Life came out, I was doing that with the bullet decal system. I get the machine gun out.
I've already tried it with the mining
Did
ship.
you ever play Half-Life when you could upload your custom spray paint?
Decals?
and
Yes.
Spray it on the wall. Yeah.
Yep.
There was a lot of naked women and cock and balls on the walls then.
Lots of tagging. But I mean, I've already tried it with I've already tried to do it with the laser on the mining to see if I can do one on the planet, a really big one, but it doesn't. One scene from space, that would be epic. It's like a huge penis scene from space. But no, it wasn't to happen. I have a question for you guys. And this is I have lots of wreck weapons and ships, okay? I still have tokens for these wreck goods. But none of them work at the moment. Do you think CRG will wipe all of my old wrecked goods, weapons and stuff, or do you think they'll get them working?
I think the wreck system's coming back, isn't it?
That's what I'm asking. Do you think they'll wipe? Do you think they'll wipe it, or do you think they'll just bring it back and all my old stuff will work?
I think they'll try to make it work with the old stuff. If you still have tokens, they'll probably try to make it work. I can't imagine they'll just get rid of the whole thing in one go.
Okay. Will FPS weapon skins eventually just be one gun with skins?
No.
I think so. What happened? This is just questions that I've been asked to do. What happened to the new FOV slider? So this is the field of view slider. Does anyone know about this?
Wasn't there one already in the game?
It's in.
I thought there was.
It's already in.
That's what I thought.
You can also set it from a console command, I believe.
But I think I thought it was. It doesn't matter. Should overpower and overclock names be swapped?
Maybe they should name it something better. Hard to say.
Yeah.
What, like voodoo juice?
Voodoo juice.
You can voodoo
magic.
juice your call
You
word.
have
magic.
You have the magic setting and the more magic setting.
Yeah.
You have the M setting and the MM
The
setting.
pink sparkly bits.
Immersion.
Yeah, there you go.
One button called immersion. The other one called fidelity.
And they never meet.
Can you experience the entirety of Star Citizen without having to spend a lot of real money in game?
No, because you have to spend at least $45 to get a package. And
So-
$45 is a lot of money to me.
Yeah.
They
So,
said a lot of money in game.
Oh,
yes. Can you spend the? No. It says, can you experience the entirety of Star Citizen without having to spend a lot of real money in game? Yeah. But I think they might mean just in money, real life, just generally. I think they just mean just money in general. I was like, this is probably if they mean without spending in-game money. I think that's you can do probably most of it without spending in-game money because you just need the
Become a
ships
space
in
hobo.
real life.
just become a space hobo and just
Is
stow
it
away on
just a
people's
triggered
ships.
question that at the moment you can't. At the moment you can't. No. Eventually you will. Yes. So if you have patience, wait.
Yeah.
Spend your £45. Get your account and just wait, and then yes, you can literally
Or you can become
watch streamers
poor.
and win the starter pack. Because
Or you can get a rich boyfriend and have them pay for all the ships you want.
There's always one Star Citizen streamer somewhere doing a shit ton of giveaways. So you just linger around their channel like most of the other flies, and you'll be fine. You've got the what I would say is though is in terms of having to do that, I would want that question to be ended. I want this scam citizen to be ended within 6 months. I really don't want it to be a thing anymore. I don't think there's an excuse after 6 months really and I shouldn't be with object container streaming and Hurston coming. The excuses are pretty thin now on the ground that we can't have ships in game to either earn or whatever. So in my opinion is that it should be ending very soon. So it's no more excuses in my opinion. After that, it's clearly
when we can purchase ships in game, it's going to be like one ship.
Uh,
Once it's just.
Oh yeah, the next little thing. We're just a drivel. Like I said, as long as they give us the ships that, even if it's one ship, but it's the mining ship, would be better than nothing. It wouldn't be ideal, and I think people would be still a bit salty, but it still at least gets past. We'd be like, well, with that. But I don't think they'll do that. I think they'll give us more than one. They may not give us all of them, but they'll give us a few, I think.
I don't think they're going to give us all ships. Yeah, they're going to give us a small selection for reasons.
Yeah, for, reasons to protect the people that have obviously spent real money, I guess, or whatever, for that they want to keep rarity, artificial rarity, or whatever that bullshit is. Anyway,
it'll probably be the ones that are sale currently, or that are always on sale. You'll be able to buy the ones
we don't want to upset the whales.
Yeah, exactly. But I think the thing is, most whales don't care. Actually, they're happy to just give shit out and want people to play the game. So.
Well, Wales is a very angry country if you're English.
We've got another question. These are just questions I've collected off of people and other things.
He's just gone to his local supermarket.
Just asking people.
What do you think of this? What do you think of this 12-year-old's drawing of the Hammerhead's interior? Will you fill out this petition? Have you heard about our Lord and Savior Christ Roberts? Can you fill out this petition?
Okay, here's a question. I've got okay, 2 questions. These are the last 2. Okay, so since hearing nothing new for the past 2 years, can the Polaris loaner be the Hammerhead?
No. Most likely, yes.
Do you think that would be okay? One said no, one said yes. So okay.
I thought you were just asking me permission.
Do you think no? But okay, I think they're asking if it can be, but I think we can change the question to: do you think it should be the Hammerhead if you have a Polaris?
Yeah, I think any big, really big ship that you own, I suppose the Hammerhead now takes its place, doesn't it?
It would make sense in my mind until we get, because it's a big combat ship, so the Hammerhead is of a similar size to the Polaris. I don't think the Polaris is a capital ship, right? So, and the Hammerhead's not a capital ship.
It's up there.
It's a big ship. So
I think they should give everybody a Retaliator and a Hammerhead if you have a Polaris.
And steep them together. So
yes, and you cannot, and they just basically they're bisected. They're just you got a Hammerhead with a Retaliator just in the middle of it, kind of like one of those.
Christian is throwing can.
Christian is a heathen.
Scanner. You should be able to choose. Do you know what, dude?
Choice.
High five.
Bad CIG employee. You.
High five to you.
Allow people to choose in Star Citizen without paying money. Oh, you heathen.
I'm buying him a drink.
Someone screenshot that because that might cost him his job. Next time he'll come into next week's
Don't
podcast,
say
be Christian _.
No. I'll be sending a tweeter out to start hashtag Chris Roberts. Control your staff. Christian CIG. What is he thinking? Coming on my show, coming on our show, just saying nonsense, crazy stuff. Right. And then the next question is your prediction on the Carrack price rising in the next anniversary sale, and then will any ships go up in price? I said I don't think they will because nothing happened with the Cutlass. But what do you guys think?
What happened? Did the price go up on the Orion when they announced its size increase to a capital? Like that thing was tiny and then it became massive, and it was like, here's 350 for.
The Carrack went up. Not the Carrack, sorry. The Cutlass went up in size and bigger, and no price change. I don't think so. I don't think so.
I think the Orion went up. I think it did.
Did it? I don't know. It's too expensive. That Stratosphere is of no interest to me in terms of those are ships I want to earn later in game anyway. I have no interest. They're fun things to aim for.
Once it goes past the budget, it's like I don't look at them anyway.
Yeah, like $35 and above. No interest. That's pretty much me. I'm like cheap as chips. It's like only recently I'm like, I think I need to get back into the trying to win stuff from other people's streaming game because I need to get some money. That's kind of like, who is giving away stuff? I need to try and get in. That's the only reason why
Madness shows up around my channel. He wants to win some stuff.
No, I come to your channel for the content. I don't come here. If I'm in a channel and I'm talking, I'm there, which is most channels, I'm there to engage with the people. But if you see me lurking, and then you just know for a fact that I'm trying to win something like the rest of them. Not there for the content. Usually the content sucks anyway for those people. Right, moving on. I think have I got any more questions? Did all the exciting content get pushed? No, we've already discussed that one already. Someone said about wearing helmets on landing zones. But I think they're already doing it. Like they've already shown us the grabby hand system and like hooking the helmet to the stuff,
Did we have a hook? Did we have the ability to hook helmets and stuff? I thought you just carried around.
You maybe have to put it on like the rack or something, maybe on your ship and stuff, you know.
You just probably just take it off and throw it on the ground. Be like, fuck this helmet.
But you know what?
Later.
It will be the first animation that they'll do, just like the gun. It'll be the first thing will be to throw it. You'll be constantly accidentally throwing your helmet at people. You just be like, oh shit. That usually happens to me on a
Didn't they ask
Saturday
for
night.
emotes for Citizencon, isn't it? The competitions. That could be the first. Just fuck this. You just throw your helmet on the floor.
Losing helmets everywhere.
Other players.
Constantly.
I would love to
dying.
be able to bludgeon somebody with a helmet. You know, take my flight helmet off.
Grab
and
it from them and just bang, bang. Yeah.
Blood stains on your helmet. Yeah, why not? Exactly.
It would protect
And
my
then,
fist
and then
pretty
put
good.
it back on, and you'll see all the blood within the scratches.
And the scratches. Of course, it has to be scratches.
Damn it. You're
Scratch my fucking visor on this helmet. It was clean until I hit you over the head with it, you bastard.
And I think the last one is VoIP hailing. So I said this like 3 questions ago, but the last one is, so say I'm in a ship and I want to talk to somebody who's in the same area, but in a different ship. Will I be able to hail and directly talk to them with VoIP? Or is VoIP just on foot stuff? So
Well,
Jared...
we've already seen this.
So yeah, but Jared made comments about this, but there is one thing though. Chris stated fairly emphatically that from the get-go, that there would be no faster than light transmissions. This was a part of the reason for the design brief of the data runners. With this in mind, presumably face-to-face communications is limited to in-system only, and even then it's a stretch to get real-time face-to-face. For example, IRL, this is like Jupiter is on average around 45 light minutes from Earth. For instance, Mars and Earth distance of the travels is 3 minutes, the minimum 24 minutes maximum. Even at a scale of 1/10 of a solar system, that would mean light travel time in game Mars to Earth equivalent would be a minimum of 18 seconds. So in theory, there would be the delay. But it's the shortness of this. If we were being mathematically correct and all that, it would in theory be a delay of time, and which is really interesting. I was like, ooh, I never thought about that before. Which is why I like the answer. And I was just like, what do you think? Do you think that's just nonsense? They'll just make it magic? Or do you think they'll actually follow the math?
I think they'll try to follow the math at the very beginning. Chris Roberts loves to keep things real.
I thought the idea was your communication's not going to be for like far enough away that you're going to have that delay.
Exactly, Shark. Exactly. I think they
So it's just
nailed it. Sorry to HC. If he goes to the math, everyone would just use fucking Discord.
Yeah.
It's very true. That's a very good
Everybody
answer.
would just use Discord or
Very good answer.
TeamSpeak or something.
Apart from if you're role-playing shit, but yeah. No. Sorry, I interrupted you. What were you saying?
I said I thought the whole point was you're not supposed to be able to talk to people that are far away. I thought it was just like you contact people within a certain range, so therefore you wouldn't have the delay.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because you're not supposed. Well, this is the thing, and it's always going to be the case. Why would you? You can't contact someone that's on a different planet through VoIP. Just using your mobiGlass, because then what's the point of the info runner? Because anyway, you probably will, because that's what, people are either do it in game or you're going to do it through Discord. But I suppose your average person that you bump into, you're not going to just go for a list of people on a different planet. But...
Yeah.
Okay. Which Discord is this guy in?
Yeah.
Click, click, click. Tell him to power down his shields. No, I'm just gonna start shooting. Too much bother.
Yeah. Right. We're done. That was it. No more questions. Thank you, everybody that's joined us this evening. Thank you, HC, Vertigo, and Miserable for coming back. Great to have you back from Africa. I'm glad you made it back safely. It's like
podcast
Would be wonderful.
is calling.
you'd have been like, yeah, we would have seen a rhino or a hippopotamus chasing Miz live on stream. That would have been quite funny.
Just doing face cam from his iPhone, running from a rhino.
Chris suddenly appears with his gun firing VoIP rockets at.
Quick cameras.
You get a webcam.
I'm gonna have to find someone to do this as like a kind of a funny gif, like kind of like see if there's a way to kind of like get his head. I'm gonna have to figure something out. Terrible. Right. Who should we host? I think there's only a few people on. There's the giveaway train in first place, and then there's like we've got the few, obviously, Chat Ripper. I don't know anyone like How Nerd. I've hosted once before. I don't know anyone. It's like it's either the Few or Jack Ripper. So I don't know if have we hosted Jack Ripper before. Is he English? Firstly, before I do
I
this,
don't know.
let's see if he's English.
No, don't think so.
Am Schluss konnten
No.
He's not English.
No, he's not English. Remotely English. Right. Well,
That's so racist.
he's not
Yeah.
remotely. I would love to, but the people are here for English, so I'm going to have to just throw you guys over to the Few. So yeah, there it is.
Goodbye.
There you go. Have a good one.
So yeah, thank you. If you want catch, just say where we can catch you whilst I do this. Where can we get you both? So Miss,
Find me on
I see.
Twitch, twitch.tv/HCVertigo.
And find me on Twitch/miserable_G.
There you go.
And you can find our content on the Asylum YouTube channel if you haven't done so. Go over to our YouTube channel, give us a follow, and you can re-listen to this crap over and over again.
yeah.
I mean, our podcast.
Is it YouTube, isn't it? Oh.
And if you like D&D, you can go and listen to our D&D podcasts from Friday as well on the YouTube channel.